The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
It's like the Minnesota State Fair is like everyone out here to have a good time.
Corn dog, big fat bacon, candy bars, and cheese curds. Ice cold milk.
At the Great Minnesota Get-Together, baby.
So get together at the fair.
All right, let's have some fun at the fair.
Okay, here we go. Showtime.
Yeah, by damn, we're ready to give her, ready to get her. Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show, and hang on to something, because it's day one of the Minnesota State effing Fair. Oh, God help us all. Maybe one or two of you are listening while you're on your way out to the fairgrounds. If so, have a blast. Watch your step in the animal barns. Don't get anything on you. If you stop by the Miracle of Afterbirth building, don't turn an ankle on the curb running up to the little 93X broadcast shed trying to get a look inside at the five of us. We are not broadcasting live from the fair, thankfully. That stupid little black box is not ideal for a morning show broadcast, and it's still holding farts in there that were released in 1997.
You know, that thing was never nice.
It never was.
It was gross from the get-go.
It was gross, and it's still gross.
Yeah, those days when we had to broadcast and you got 4 or 5 people in there, it was a nightmare.
Now, speaking of Chamber of Farts, it's come up recently. I can imagine that's one of the all-timers in there.
Did I just tell this story on air or not? I can't remember. I know I mentioned it off air. One of the most glorious days of my broadcast career was when we met our latest program director, Derek. However long he's been here, 6, 7 years, I can't remember. But one of the first meetings we ever had, he said to us, so what don't you like around here? And Josh and I said, we do not like broadcasting from the fair. And he said, I'm in. he said that's absolutely fine with me. And it was like one of those moments where little hearts were bubbling above our heads.
We knew we were in love.
Yes, we did.
Because no one hates a live broadcast more than a program director, especially ours.
The only folks who dislike a live, on-location broadcast more than the folks who are doing the talking is their boss, the program director. That's exactly right.
Too many possible issues that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was always kind of pointless because they'd have us out there for this whatever amount of time, and people would be nice enough to stop by, and we wanted to go greet folks, and we couldn't because we had to sit in this thing the whole time, and then you felt like you're being rude.
Yeah. Oh, can you wait 40 minutes till this sports segment's over, and we'll be right out there to say hi to you.
Right. But we only got 4 minutes to say hi.
But you know what? That's funny, too, and that's all true. And we've even received nasty emails in the past. You remember this, Josh? We're trapped inside the stupid black box that rocks doing some kind of a Saturday broadcast, which we haven't done for a few years. For a while, we would do a Saturday live broadcast in the afternoon. Okay. And like you guys were explaining, we're stuck inside the damn thing because when we're not talking live, we're jaw-jacking with the board op back at the studio. We're dealing with problems along with the engineers of how this sounds and that sounds. We have no time to go out and communicate with anybody who was nice enough to stop by. And then we'll get an email from people saying, what's with the attitude? I'm hanging out there for 10 minutes. You never came out to say hi. Well, we can't. We're locked into this thing, making sure everything's working. It sucks.
It was pointless.
It was.
Plus, I mean, what do we have for a commercial break? 20, 25 minutes? That's about it. We just play those commercials for 20, 25 minutes. We don't have time to go out and box.
But we will be making a highly anticipated appearance out at the fair tomorrow. There will be other on-air personalities from 93X live at the fair. I don't know the schedule. Maybe it's on our website.
Pablo's out there weekdays.
Okay.
He'll be doing his show starting at 2. And then JP will be out there on the weekends.
Okay.
Correct. And Labor Day.
And Labor Day.
And Labor Day.
If you don't know what the deal is or where we're at, you can find our little crippled broadcast booth near the grandstand across from Sweet Martha's Cookies. Pick up some gear, T-shirt, hat kind of a thing. Register to win an autographed Godsmacked guitar. And
pretty cool.
Tomorrow morning, after we're off the air. Oh, sorry. We will be making an appearance tomorrow morning, and then come Monday, Corey Taylor from Slipknot will be at the booth with Pablo.
That's cool.
Come Monday afternoon. And all of this is brought to you by One Nation Exteriors.
Pablo gets all the rock stars.
Yeah, he does. Got Gavin Rossdale last year.
Yep.
Sweet.
I don't know if I'm alone on this, but he can have them.
You are far from alone. I mean, there's plenty of times you want to interview. No. Pablo can do that. That's a Pablo thing. He loves that kind of thing.
A couple months ago, the boss asked me, hey, do you want to do a Zoom interview with, I can't remember the name. And I go, well, I had to Google who that was, so I don't think I'm your guy on this one.
About our appearance out at the fair tomorrow. Going to be from 10 to noon. 10 to noon. Hopefully you can stop by. If you can't, don't worry about it. But 10 to noon tomorrow, we're going to make a little... There's only one rule at the 93X booth at the State Fair when we are out there. And the rule is buy something or leave.
That's not the rule.
What do you mean that's not the rule?
Officially, no, there is no rule.
Wait. Wapple and I went to his landlord's place last night, and we got glue sticks and glitter. We made a big sign that says "Buy something or leave." That we're gonna hold.
You can't bring that.
What?
You can't. I'm sorry.
You can't miss it.
Yeah.
Once we put it up, you can't miss the sign.
It's a massive
What
sign.
I'm saying is you should not put that sign up.
I was going to have Wapple hold it above his head for the entire 2 hours that were buy something or leave. So that's not the rule.
No, that's not the rule.
Oh.
It's not even a suggestion as far as I'm concerned.
What event could we save that sign for, Wapple? How about when you get married? I'll hold the sign. At your wedding reception, I'll hold a sign that says buy something or leave, put together with glue sticks and glitter, and people will try to figure out what that means.
Give it to your drug dealer, Wapple. He might appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great. Yeah, he could put it up on the wall that he has of the smoke room. Yeah.
He's got a smoke room?
Totally.
He's got a wall?
Yeah.
No roof, though.
Tomorrow, 10 to noon.
Special guest, Jordan Max.
What?
Our adult actress friend Jordan Max will be joining us tomorrow.
Is she still going to... Oh, right. She's going to be in studio with us tomorrow and then come with us over to the fair.
Yep.
Is there a porn star rate, a special porn star rate at the gate for the Minnesota State Fair?
Oh, they get in for free.
They get in for free? They should.
I guess something we should consider is we might not make it alive to the State Fair, considering we have the same guy that's driven us the last couple years, and it's a dangerous ride when he's behind the wheel.
That was sketchy last year, guys.
I'm not sure that he's the right one that should be operating one of those vehicles. I like him quite a bit as a human being, but as a driver, I don't like being in a car with him.
He's a terrible driver. He almost killed us on the way to the fair last year. Maybe, like Josh said, maybe we won't make it, but here's the deal. Unfortunately, he's about the only swinging D available.
And he's like one of the only people that is allowed to drive those vehicles.
And it was funny, too. Yesterday after the show, we were kind of counting heads. All right, we might need to take 2 cars. And Ashley volunteered. She's like, well, I could drive and park, And I was like, okay, option A, option B. Which do I feel safer with?
Yeah, I've seen Ashley cut off a UPS truck. I mean, when she leaves, she bolts out of here. So
I noticed that too yesterday at our meeting, Dana, when Ashley said, I could drive. Nobody made a sound.
I was thinking in my head, I could walk. I could maybe get a scooter.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get to the fair.
So she's a big deal. It's day 1. Oh, my damn. I was reading through some State Fair this and State Fair that to get you warmed up to the idea. I thought this number sounded small, and maybe, I've taken too many shots to the noggin, but it says here there are nearly 500 different foods available at 300 concessions, 300 different concession stands. That number of 300 different places to get something to eat sounded small to
The
me.
500 sounds small as well.
Huh.
I mean, think of how many options you can get at just one.
I mean, what the hell do I know?
Oh, true.
I don't follow these types of things. That both those numbers seem small to me, but as we all know, there's plenty of places to get something or another to eat.
But truthfully, anything over 3 is big. Huge, actually. Anything over maybe 3, 4. At 5, you're just showing off.
Yeah, you're bragging at that point.
I think of a small county fair and like how many choices they usually have, and I mean those are still like relatively big, and they usually only have like 6 different places.
Do you think it's because they have like so many like Pronto Pup stands, so it only counts as one?
Oh.
You know, I don't know, Wobble.
So like they could have
I'd imagine,
15
yeah, exactly.
Pronto Pup stands, so that takes up some room.
Yeah, what, do you have 2 or 3 Sweet Martha's cookies?
Yeah.
It's up to 3 now.
Is it 3? Okay, yeah, that's just one, right? I'm sure they'll count that as
and
one.
then there's a number of places you get a hot dog, so that's just, one item there.
You know how my brain starts to blow smoke once too many numbers are introduced to it, so I wish I could help you out any further. The top 10 vendors from last year. Boy, I bet you'll probably see the same 10 once this year is over.
Yeah.
The same top 10. I bet the same top vendors have a great year this year as well because they've got such a loyal following. I'm not going to include the amount of money these joints take in every fair. I'm sure most of you know already, and I just think, I don't know, these days, as we're surrounded by so many low-life derelicts, it's almost making these vendors a damn target in my mind. Maybe that's just the liquor talking, but I'm not going to include how much money these folks take in every year. But I will tell you is the top 10 joints, top 10 vendors from last year. Number 10, Turkey To Go.
I like that place.
Yeah, I love it.
Number 9, Carousel Barbecue. I think I can picture the joint.
Never heard of it, but
I think I can picture it's right over by our joint.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It used to be famous Dave's.
Yep.
Right now, it's that place.
I got some stuff from there last.
I like that place.
It's I've had a couple of sandwiches over there. 8, the Perfect Pickle.
Okay.
It's my mom's favorite.
Oh,
Yep.
the deep fried pickles.
pickles.
Okay. Sometimes I forget the proper titles of these joints. Sure, the deep fried pickles. What about your mother?
Oh, never mind. I thought the perfect pickle was the pickle that they do with cream cheese wrapped in pastrami. That's my mom's favorite.
I'd like to watch your mother eat a pickle. Especially with the cream cheese, the pastrami. Hold the pastrami. Josh said all of this earlier when we were off the air.
I did. I wrote it down for him. I was afraid he'd forget.
Number 7, the 7th most successful vendor from last year at the Stinkin' Fair, the Blue Barn. Oh, that's a schmancy joint over. You got to go this way, that way.
Dude, their Nashville hot chicken.
So good.
So good. They dip it in Frosted Flakes, too.
Oh, that's what the breading is?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be negative by calling it schmancy, but it is one of the nicer. It's relatively new still.
Yeah, it's in that area that's kind of they added a little couple years back.
Way, where you go this way and then that.
Yeah, then you go that way. Yeah, correct.
Number 6 is the corn roast.
Oh, that's a staple.
All the hot college girls handing out, how do you call it, corn on the cob. I like that joint.
Wait, and you're not kidding about hot.
Oh.
I mean, they should put a warning label on the husk. My God.
Seriously, yeah. It'll burn your mouth.
Dude, forget about it. My hand has burned off before it comes anywhere near my mouth.
I know.
I've had a couple of those. And that's been one of my favorites since I was a little kid, going to get an ear of corn.
Yeah, you got to do that.
But you forget, when they hand that friggin' ear to you, it is scorching hot. And, of course, I'm all excited like a kid. I go, yay, corn! And my hand just, You had to.
You could brand someone with corn kernels.
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff's so hot. You can cauterize a wound.
Imagine getting slapped in the face with one of those.
Oh, man.
You know who makes the 5th most monies over there? The American Dairy Association. What are we talking about? The shakes?
Yeah. Shakes and the milk?
Oh, the milk booth. Right. The milk booth. Number 4, the fresh French fries. The fresh French fries. Number 3, this is kind of a cute misprint here in the article. Instead of calling the joint the Mouse Trap Cheese Curds, That's what it is, right? The mouse trap.
Yeah,
Those are the best ones.
Yeah, those are the OG in the food building.
Yep.
Word. Somebody wrote the mouth trap. I'll show you a mouth trap.
Oh, those are so good.
Take it easy now. We got all the way till tomorrow. Number 2 is Pronto Pups. And number 1 is the Skol and Copenhagen booth.
There's not a Skol.
It's Sweet Martha's, of course.
Yeah.
You see articles on her every year, every single year.
She makes 3 million cookies a day, or the joint makes 3 million cookies a day. Corn roast, 25,000 cobs a day. They're working, by God. Huh?
That's just so much.
A lot of cobs.
Wow.
It is the mouth trap, the Brotherhood says, not a mouse trap for
Really?
the cheese curds. Yeah.
I've always called it mousetrap.
Mouth? M-O-U-T-H.
Yeah, it's not a misprint.
Wow, I feel like I've been lied to.
Yeah, no, according to Google, yeah, it's mouthtrap.
How is it that I've walked in there 6,000 times and never? But there's cheese on the marquee. There's mice on the marquee.
I'm sure that's just a little pun there, right?
But well, sure. But how did I never notice that?
Yeah, you're
I'm
usually
so
a few
confused.
Coors
Wow.
Lights into your day.
That's true. None of us ever noticed that it was M-O-U-T-H.
No.
Okay.
This text says it's a play
Wow.
on words, man.
No.
That is crazy that all of us never noticed.
We're not misunderstanding the play on words. You're not dealing with morons here.
Dude, my mom
It's ju-
even calls it that. All right.
We're just shocked that we never noticed the pun, the play on words. I don't like anyone coming after us like that on day 1 of the fair.
I think it's kind of fun.
Would the mouse trap be the mouse roller coaster, I wonder?
Pardon me?
I think it might be the mouse trap as the roller coaster.
Well, that's the crazy mouse.
Oh. I thought it...
All right. Ooh, how about this top 10 for you? The top 10 grandstand acts over the years. The bands who have shown up the most over the years at the fair. Everybody knows what number 1 is. Give it to me. Are you kidding me? You guys don't know?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
Sorry.
The band that's made and you know this, Josh, the band that's made the most appearances at the grandstand in the history of the state fair.
Wasn't it like Alabama?
Yes,
or,
everybody friggin' knows that. You can't call yourself a Minnesotan if you don't know that. All right, here's 10-2 since we already covered the legendary, awesome Alabama. I love Alabama. Lucky enough to see him in concert a few years ago. Number 10, Bonnie Raitt. Well, let's give them something or another to talk about, right?
Okay.
Number 9, Josh. You mentioned that when you were a kid, your folks would force you to hang out at the milk booth for 6-7 hours when you'd go to the fair.
Oh, yeah. They'd fill us up for 5 cents.
Did they ever drag you out to see the Ray Comiskey Orchestra?
Nope. Never even heard of the Ray Comiskey. Is that a local deal?
I don't know. They've made the 9th most appearances at the grandstand at the fair. 8 appearances. Alan Jackson, I've heard the name before. He's made 8 appearances at the fair. When I used to hang out in Glenwood, Minnesota, you couldn't cross the street with one of the citizens saying something positive about Alan Jackson. Oh, they loved his ripped up jeans, and they loved his blonde hair and his blonde mustache and his big cowboy hat. But I can't think of any of his songs. Alan, did he sing about the Chattahoochee or something like that?
Oh, is that him?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't know.
Something about going down to the Chattahoochee and he's going to get a little hoochie coochie.
Yeah, the Chattahoochee.
Nice.
Chattahoo something. Yeah.
Nice. Sing a little bit of that to us, will you, Josh?
Me? Chattahoochee. Yeah. We're going to walk our hoochie. I don't know.
One of the first times I met Josh was at a karaoke bar, and he did Chattahoochee. It was
I
great.
did.
Yeah, just like that. It was brought the house down.
First guy said, "What do you want to sing?" I said, "I don't remember the guy's name." What song? I'm not really even sure.
Something about a hoochie.
Yeah.
You know who else they wouldn't stop talking about in Glenwood? Shania Twain. God, I'm lucky I divorced from that town. I got so sick of Shania Twain and Alan Jackson. I was ready to throw down. Number 7 on the bands that have made the most appearances at the grandstand. Oh, Josh, you got to like this band. It's the Turtles.
I like Turtles.
I know you do. The Turtles. Everybody? So happy together.
Oh,
Yep. Okay.
And I'm telling you, look up a picture of the band The Turtles from around 1969. Ooh, that's a good-looking group of fellas right there.
They haven't even aged well. Sometimes, they might look a little goofy when they're younger and then grow up to look a little more distinguished in some cases, but not in this case.
I mean, even when they were in their mid-20s, you look at a picture and go, whew, those guys had too much beer and too many cigarettes.
They've always looked old.
Yes. That's what's interesting about number 6. I'll be damned. The Oak Ridge Boys. 10 times they played the grandstand. The Oak Ridge Boys, they put together some. Number 5, I've seen this band a couple times at the fair, and they're one of the greatest groups to ever live. Now, granted, at this point and for the last 20-some, 30 years, there's only 1 or 2 original members hanging around. Anyone know who I'm talking about?
Nope.
One of the greatest bands of all time. The Beach Boys. Love the Beach Boys. Number 4, old Willie Nelson played the State Fair Grandstand 11 times. Number 3, this shouldn't count. The Amateur Talent Contest Finals have made 13 appearances. Well, of course. Where are they going to play? Are they going to go to Iowa for the Minnesota Amateur Talent Contest?
Yeah. Are they only 13?
13.
That doesn't even make any sense.
I feel like it's been every single year.
Yeah, we did it in 1991.
Well, right, but I think the final was over at the lesser.
That's where we were at the lesser.
Right, not the grandstand. Yeah, you see where they're going with that?
Ticky-tacky.
I mean, no offense to nothing against the amateur talent here in town, but, I mean, of course, the State Fair Talent Show is going to play at the State Fair. Number 2, Garrison Keillor. Anyone ever sit down and...
No.
You don't like his stories about Lake Wobegon and things like that?
No.
My parents used to listen to
Oh,
it
for
quite a
God's
bit.
sake.
My parents did too.
Oh, isn't that something? Yeah, we all... And I mean, unfortunately, I think maybe when I was 11, I expressed an interest in maybe growing up to be a radio personality, right? And then I didn't say anything else about it till I was 21 or something. But I made a mention of it as a little kid, and then what did my folks think I wanted to sit down and listen to? Hours of Garrison Keillor.
I liked listening to Garrison Keillor.
Nobody did.
Oh, he had a great delivery, a nice voice.
Yep.
Nice variety show.
Number 1 was Alabama, as I mentioned.
You know what? I was just thinking again about how we're going to get there tomorrow. And Ashley, you were nice enough to offer to drive.
Mm-hmm.
You were late today because you forgot how to get to work.
Oh my gosh. I've seriously been driving the same route, for probably over a year now, because it's from my boyfriend's house that I now live at with him. And yeah, instead of going towards Minneapolis like I'm supposed to, I went towards St. Paul.
Yeah, you're the one to drive us tomorrow.
We'll be in good hands.
Is your
I know how to get to St. Paul. That's where we got to get, right?
Is your last name Dunn or Christmas?
That was very Dumb and Dumber of you, I guess.
I heard that off air before we went live, that you had somehow driven the wrong way on your way to work this morning.
Such a ditz. It's just because so many other things are going through my mind. I'm on autopilot, and if
that's how they say you should be when you're driving a motor vehicle.
They teach you that on day 1.
Yes, that's part of driver's education. Have your mind elsewhere.
Pay attention to everything but the road.
Yeah.
How far did you get?
Who cares?
So you had to go a distance and take a different route. The split there where it's Minneapolis. I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I know which way you come from. So you're on 94. There's the split. This way to Minneapolis, this way to St. Paul. You went to St. Paul.
Yep. It took me until I saw a sign for 35W Duluth. And I was like, oh, that actually, I don't know that this looks suspicious.
Yeah, you're not driving us to the fair. Jesus balls.
Almost went to my folks' place.
Well, there you go. So, all that effort for nothing, huh, Wapple? We made a big, glittery sign with glue sticks that says, buy something or leave, and you guys don't want that sign to make an appearance tomorrow at the booth at the fair.
I'm butthurt.
Are you butthurt?
I'm butthurt about it.
Well, bring the sign, but just make sure you sign your names on it.
Wapple said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We even put emojis on it.
You don't know what an emoji is.
No, I do not. Now you caught me. All right, we're going to get rolling. It's day one of the fair. Like I said, if you're on your way out there, have a great time, and we'll be seeing you tomorrow, and we'll bother you about that a little bit later today, and then during tomorrow morning's show, just to see if we can sucker some people to come out and see us. We'll take a break. We'll come right back here on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, Minnesota. CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace or AC is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
The Jets are bracing themselves into doing Hard Knocks this year.
Bracing themselves. Look, coaches want to control the controllables. They don't want to have a camera crew in the building. You know, I know that they want to lie low. This is what happens when you go and swing for the fences and get Aaron Rodgers. Are you kidding me?
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
All right, here we go. Stupid news. Oh, wait. Something or another I wanted to address before we get to the stupid news. We were talking about our collective appearance at the fair tomorrow, the Half-Assed Morning Show. We'll be at our broadcast booth at the Minnesota State Fair starting at 10 a.m. We'll hang around till noon. Now, and we're very much looking forward to it. I was saying earlier that the one rule that folks should follow, and Wapple agreed with me, the one rule that folks should follow if you're going to come see us at the fair, the rule is buy something or leave. Wapple and I even went through the trouble last night to create a giant sign with glitter and glue sticks that says, buy something or leave. Wapple was going to hold it the entire 2-hour appearance tomorrow so folks know why they're there, why we're there. But you guys didn't seem to like the idea. I did get one text message from a listener who says, I won't buy anything from your booth unless I see a sign that demands I do so. So we're kind of stuck here.
Yeah, I think we need to bring it.
Well, and also there's another person that's afraid of your temper, Nick, who said they're going to buy something just so you don't get mad at them and send them away.
Okay, well, that's a start.
Do you think if I just keep folding the sign up and folding it up and folding it up, and I could get it small enough to put in my pocket, and then I could pull it out when he gets there?
That is elaborate, but yet it's...
How big do you think my pocket would be? It's a huge sign.
Oh, and also, we're not completely nuts. We're not completely stupid or insane around here. We were talking earlier about some of the more popular food booths at the fair. One of them was the Mouth, M-O-U-T-H, Trap. The Mouth Trap, where they sell cheese curds in the food building. And I thought it was a misprint. I and all of us said, I've never noticed M-O-U-T-H, Mouth Trap. We've all thought it was Mouse Trap. People texted in and said, here's where we got effed up. Well, first off, how close attention do you pay to the title of some of these booths? You just want something to eat. Many folks texted in and said it used to be the Mouse Trap. Recently, it changed over to the M-O-U-T-H Trap. So that's why none of us we're not totally nuts or stupid.
That makes me feel better.
Just kind of nuts and stupid.
A little bit. You describing how you're going to fold up the sign and put it in your... That was kind of insane.
I was waiting for the second part when you'd have to try and figure out who that was that sent in the text.
Right.
You didn't think that far ahead, did you?
No.
You were too worried about the pockets on your jeans, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't even know if this is legal. This might be considered prostitution, but Big Mig Welder texted in and said he's not going to buy anything from our booth tomorrow unless he gets to see my aggressive nipples.
Well, you have to bust them out.
Not to be that guy, but they're stately. They are not aggressive.
I appreciate that, Josh.
I don't like the connotation that aggressive has.
Well, neither do I. Well, we'll see about that. I don't know if we can trade skin for a money transaction. I don't know if that is legal at the fair or anywhere else in town. But usually I wear a shirt that's cut up enough to where you can probably see him from a profile. You'll get a look at what... I give the people what they want. All right, here we go. Sometimes. Oh, now and again, a couple might have a little domestic dust-up right out in the open for everybody to see. You know, you're at a bar, you're at a restaurant. Little domestic dust-ups happen right out in the open. Hopefully, it doesn't turn too ugly, or we might have to intervene. You know, to all you dudes out there, if you're out at a bar with your lady and you get into an argument with her, take it easy. Don't go too far with it. Don't make Josh have to kick your ass in front of your woman and a packed bar. I've seen him do it before. Here's a domestic type deal that could have used Cubby to step in and cool things down by beating the husband's ass. A 51-year-old man in Arizona named Woolham Brennan was arrested on Saturday after he admitted to throwing food at his wife. It happened at a McDonald's restaurant. The couple got into an argument, and at some point, Woolham threw a container full of McDonald's French fries at her face. He then screamed at her. He said, "Get in the car!"
I've only thrown something out of frustration once, and I didn't aim for anyone. I threw it at a wall.
Oh, I remember it was dominoes.
It was one domino, and again, I was aiming for a wall. I'm not very good at throwing. I hit 4 people.
Oh.
Yeah. I should have aimed for them, and I would have hit the wall.
Accuracy isn't it what it used to be. So here's this dust-up at McDonald's. A witness was concerned, called the police. They tracked down our pal Woolham here, and he confessed to what he had done. He told the cops that he and the wife were fighting. And this is cute. This is a cute line. I see where he's going with this. He told the cops, "I threw French fries at my wife instead of my fists." As if to show you, I guess, it could have been worse.
You had some restraint.
Right. At least I didn't, full-on tune the old lady up right there at McDonald land.
I do like the "it could have been worse" excuse. That is kind of fun.
But listen to this, Cubby. He was booked into jail on a pair of domestic violence charges, including one for assault. He could be in jail for 3 years.
He must have a record, right?
He probably has a record.
Anybody throw anything at... you threw a pickaxe or something like that at your brother, a hatchet or something.
Oh, God, I've thrown many, many, many things in my life.
Yeah, same here.
Out of anger, absolutely. But yeah, probably the most dramatic is... The truth is, had my brother rounded a corner 3 seconds earlier, which is back when we were 12 years old, I had such a horrible temper tantrum. And my brother and I both run pretty hot. I went so bananas one day that I picked up a pickaxe and threw it in his general direction. And the truth is, had he come around the corner of the garage 3 seconds earlier, the blade of that pickaxe would have buried itself in his aorta. I would have murdered my brother and probably, spent a good amount of my life incarcerated.
Would they give you his regular room, you think, at jail? Or here's the Bourne wing.
Dude, in the end, I never thought of it that way. But out of some cosmic set of circumstances, he ended up being the one who spent a lot of time in jail. Very, very interesting that you bring that up. But I picked up the pickaxe and I said, "Die, you bastard, die!" And I threw it and it went, and then he came around the corner.
Oh, dude. You've planned it out better since then. You would, if it was today, you'd hit him.
Oh, absolutely.
Right between the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe just in the knee. so I can taunt him for a stretch of time before he passes away from blood loss. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In college once, I absolutely obliterated a Nintendo 64 controller against the wall.
Yeah, I was going to guess that you probably killed a few controllers in your day.
That was one of the big ones. I took that thing, I unplugged it so I knew I could get some real heat on it, because it wouldn't just, slow down because it's still plugged into the system. I unplugged the thing intentionally and just smashed that against the wall.
Did you immediately think I'm a dumbass?
Yeah,
I did after I threw that domino.
Right, yeah. I was, and my buddies were just laughing at me. They're like, you are such an idiot. Over a game of Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey, I smashed the controller. That was such a good game. You can understand the passion behind that, can't you, Waffle?
Totally. I was playing Greg Hastings Tournament Paintball 2.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
If I had a dime for every Greg Hastings, Greg Hastings Tournament Paintball 2.
Yeah, and that game was actually a blast. So much fun. But there was this one team I could not beat, and I just pounded my controller into the ground. Just absolutely shattered it.
Video game meltdowns are some of the best.
They are.
Yeah, I love watching them.
Remember the viral video where the kid, it turns out it was fake, but he put the controller up his butt?
Yes.
That's quite a temper tantrum.
Yep.
One of the greatest effing YouTube videos. When we were young guys, we never were terribly into video games, but we did used to have a massive EA Sports hockey. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, that's a fun game.
NHL 92-3. We were 21, 22 years old. We would go to my buddy's cabin up in Ely and drink and raise hell and go to the boom boom rooms. On down nights, we would have a massive tournament playing this EA hockey or whatever it's called, NHL 92, 93, whatever year it was. And it got so friggin' heated that a dude who lost the championship game was so pissed off he didn't talk to anybody in the party for about 12 hours. See, what pissed him off was we did a roulette type of a system for what team you would be.
Oh, sure.
So he was a big Chicago Blackhawks guy. He's from Chicago. He's got a hard-on for the Blackhawks, and in that time period, they had Jeremy Roenick and all these terrific. So their team was very good in 92, 90. And we told him, you can't be the Blackhawks. You're at the mercy of the spinning wheel. And he ended up being the Winnipeg Jets or something. But still, he made it to the final championship, and he's like, I'm going to make it all the way, even though I'm the Jets, and all they have is, I suppose they had Solani at the time. But anyway, he loses the championship round. He walked out of the room. No one heard a peep out of his yap for a half a day. He didn't break anything. He just stood up, walked away.
That same game I was talking about, I smashed a controller, Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey. My roommates and we had some serious battles in that game. And one night, my roommate and I, we had this best of 7 series going. And the game has the advantage where you can always catch up. They keep the score close. So it always ends up being a 7-6 type of game. But I got up on my buddy like 9-0 one night in this heated game after a drunken night, and he was getting so frustrated. I could see him like getting emotional, and I was like, "Oh, you gonna cry, buddy? You gonna cry?
Oh,
Big boy, you gonna cry?" And he started crying.
Oh man!
What the hell? What do you mean? He started crying.
He was so upset, and he was so drunk that he started crying. I made a grown man cry over Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey.
Data.
That's a badge of honor in a way.
It is.
You had some emotionally fragile. I just looked this up. My buddy wasn't in such bad shape. The starting lineup for the Winnipeg Jets, NHL 93, Tomas Steen, Ed Olczyk, Phil Housley, Frederick Olesen, starting goaltender Bob Asenza. He wasn't in such bad shape.
Yeah, it could be way worse than that.
Yeah, Aaron Broughton was on the roster. They only rated him a 40.
In my case, the reason I freaked out, my wife is impossible to beat in any board game, anything like that. She wins all the time.
What if you said you have like one career Uno win over her?
That's it. Mm-hmm. Nobody beats her in any of those games. It's frustrating.
I love that for her.
I do too.
If there's any game show outside of like a Jeopardy or something like that, any game show, I would bring her. Like there's times where watching Family Feud, she'll say something and I think, that is the dumbest thing I've ever, ding! Like, how's that up on the board? Somehow she can throw this out there and she knows all of it. It doesn't matter the game. But I got so tired of losing to her in dominoes. That's what happened. I freaked out and I just threw the domino against the wall and it was basically like this. Ha! Smash! I may have overreacted.
That's worse when you instantly know.
Oh, I knew right away.
Uh-huh. You're like,
that might have not been an appropriate reaction to what happened.
I wish I could go back in time about 5 seconds and not do that.
That's all I needed.
All right. Now, I don't care who you are. If you've got tacos for sale, you don't need fancy advertising to get me to swing by and try one. Here's some interesting advertising for you. Brought to you by a taco joint in Australia. They call the restaurant Beefy Burrias. And maybe Burrias is what Australians call tacos. I don't know. Beefy Burrias is the name of the taco joint. They've gone ahead with some ads starring a couple of OnlyFans models to advertise their menu. But so far, the overall vibe is that they're straight up grossing people out. Just a few days ago, the Beefy Burrias Instagram account cut loose with a couple of what they call mature ads featuring 2 OnlyFans stars. One is a blonde gal who calls herself Millionaire, Millyonaire. You following where she went with that?
That's cute.
It is. And also starring a dude Instagram character called Sanchez the Bartender Rodriguez.
I wonder what he does in his daytime.
He teaches ice skating. Did everyone see a picture of this couple?
Yeah. Yep, it's up on 93X too.
What do you think? Are they sexy?
Yeah, they're good looking, I suppose.
I don't know.
The first couple of images showed the two of them posing and having a bite to eat. But the next thing you know, there were pictures up there where they're using beer bottles and tacos to simulate sex acts. And then ultimately there were pictures of the two of them eating food off of each other's body.
The millionaire, she has a tattoo similar to yours, Ashley.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah.
What one is it?
Well, I don't like to say the area of your body where it is. Dana.
The pectorals region.
Yeah,
Oh, a chest tattoo?
that's right.
Between the boobs.
Yeah. There's a word for it.
You know what? I tried
That's neato.
to look up more pictures of this millionaire, but I couldn't find nothing because there are, and I'm completely foreign to all this social media nonsense, but what it appeared to me when I Googled millionaire, the hot blonde, OnlyFans model, there has got to be 1 million people on social media who have given themselves that nickname. Mm-hmm. You know, with different spellings and different. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Everybody wants to be, I'm a million. I'm a
Isn't there a rapper like Chameleonaire or Billionaire?
Chameleonaire.
It's Chameleonaire.
Yeah.
Did anyone else get lucky and find any more filthy pictures of this woman?
No.
Yeah, just their page.
Okay. So apparently these pictures gross folks out so bad. Some of them assumed that the taco joint's Instagram had been hacked. They thought it was a sabotage job to make them look bad. One Instagram dork said, "I hope your tacos aren't this tasteless." Another said, "This has got to be the weirdest way to destroy your own business that I've ever seen." But the owner of Burrias Tacos was asked about all this, and he had a pretty standard answer. He said, "Sex sells."
That's what they say.
Yeah, I don't really like the video of the guy eating the taco.
Oh, I wasn't able to see videos.
Nick hates that too.
That one's on the website 93X. That is like the one that very much.
Oh, is the taco resting between her legs?
Yeah, and the guy's like actually doing the motions that you would if you're pleasing a woman orally.
Maybe we should watch it then. I don't really know what those motions
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that act.
He looks like he's good at it.
Try to ignore it.
It sounds like you've kind of had a change of heart as you watch the video.
He pours, I think it's queso or sour cream, like all over her butt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how to make videos happen on the internet. Can someone?
Yeah, the taco thing, that's a bit much.
Let me see this. Okay, he's got some ingredients.
Those were Takis. He's crushing up.
Oh my God, he's pouring all kinds of things on her bottom. Holy smokes, this is a great video.
Wait for it.
Yeah, he saw it.
No.
And then what is that underneath the taco?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I wish I knew.
Can you play it one more time?
Well, it's right there. You can see.
Is that the label of her bikini bottoms? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, looks like a
Hopefully.
Playboy bunny.
An
good.
emblem.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Oh, I could watch that all day. That wasn't bad at all. I like that millionaire lady. I bet she doesn't have anywhere near $1 million, but I see where she's going with that. This owner is not backing down.
Good for him.
He kind of gets offended here by, he says, I want to keep pushing the boundaries. And then he kind of gets offended and goes off on the negative reaction that these ads have received. I'm a little disappointed in humanity, he says. We've received a lot of emails. If you have time to write an email, you have time to write a book.
Do you? It's a little bit of a difference.
Oh, wait a minute. If you have time to write an email, you have time to read a book.
Still.
He doesn't care what people think. And it says here, the ads are only going to get more extreme from here.
I don't know how.
Okay, I'm following. Why not?
And he says even if people stop showing up at his joint to eat tacos, he wants to keep with the filthy ads and make them even dirtier. I think this guy just wants to masturbate or something.
Yeah.
or
He's a horny dude.
Or be friends with an OnlyFans lady. You know, he's going all in on this. Everyone has sex, he says. If you're not having sex, I feel sorry for you.
Oh, I don't
So
really
the
like him
attitude,
now.
the attitude with this guy's kind of off-putting, but I don't.
I wonder if he's having sex. Truthfully.
Sex.
Oh, he's probably so mad he's not getting sex.
Yeah. He doesn't. I mean, but I'm sure if he's just getting destroyed, he's just lost it at this point.
Yeah.
He's tired of it. Yeah, it's a little much. A little much for me, I gotta say.
What was it? The taco or the sour cream on the butt?
Well, the whatever the queso or sour cream,
Yeah.
whatever that is on the butt, that was like, oh man, that'll get your attention.
Mhm.
But the
I like
taco,
that.
I mean, come on, man.
It was totally crema.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yum.
Crema's like liquidy sour cream.
Stop it.
Crema.
Do you like this Disneyland story, Josh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
An employee at Disneyland in Paris.
It's interesting.
This kid works at Disneyland in Paris. He was fired after guests complained that he refused to put both whipped cream and Nutella on their waffles. Now, I never dreamed I'd ever have to say something like that out loud in my life, but
Why not both?
he's a 20-year-old kid named Loris. He was working at a food stand that sells waffles with various toppings. All right, at the fun park. Some guests asked for both whipped cream and Nutella on top of their waffles.
I think and marshmallows as well. They wanted,
And he said no.
it was 3 things,
That sounds
Okay,
delicious.
which was part of the problem.
Marshmallows, whipped cream, and whatever Nutella is. I've heard about it. I can't remember what it is.
It's like a hazelnut spread. Kind of looks like chocolate.
Sounds terrible. He
Yeah.
told them they had to choose one of the toppings. That's policy, he said. He can't put Nutella and whipped cream and, what did you say otherwise? Marshmallow. He said if he'd given one person that combination, then everyone else in line would expect the same treatment. And then he'd get in trouble for going against policy. And that all makes sense to me. So people bitched. Customers said they didn't like his, quote, tone. And a few weeks later, he was fired.
Yeah, it's a nice story about how a company backs their employees for following the rules.
Yeah. You told me to do this exact thing. I didn't, and I got fired. Okay.
If he gave 3, he's probably gone too.
Yep.
Now, he also says he was fired because of some possible strike that the park employees are planning, some deep inside information. I don't need to get into that, but he said, I'm upset. It's a company I liked to work for. And this comment here is entertaining. He said, the only time I failed to bring the magic to life, I was immediately fired.
I enjoy the entitlement of those people, though, who thought, when you got to pay for extra toppings, they didn't need to.
Mm-hmm. And I know at one point or another, we're trying to get around to expanding off of this topic and discussing, stupid reasons folks got fired. I don't know if we'll be able to squeeze it in today because we got gorgeous porn star Jordan Max coming by.
Well, that's tomorrow.
Nope, tomorrow.
So maybe we'll have time later on today to talk about dumb reasons people got fired. This is pretty pathetic. This next here stupid news story. I know I say this a lot, but it's difficult to believe this is a grown adult doing something like this. And I'm talking about stealing pigeons.
Oh.
In Marion County, Florida, cops are asking for the public's help in identifying an alleged, quote, pigeon pirate who is caught on camera stealing birds from somebody's house. According to a Facebook post from the local cops, multiple birds were snatched up last week from a house in a town called Reddick, Florida. And I know, Josh, you like how the local cops down there come off cute in their Facebook posts when discussing these low-life criminal douchebags.
Yeah, a couple of the sheriff's departments are pretty funny.
The cops said, luckily, a surveillance camera had a bird's eye view
Nice.
of his rumpled, how do I say this? A surveillance camera had a bird's eye view, and his ruffled rumpus was caught on camera. Now we need you, our eagle-eyed readers, to help us identify this pigeon pirate. Security cameras have given the cops an idea of what this douche suspect looks like, but he's wearing a green bandana to conceal his stupid face. Apparently, these stolen pigeons aren't just any common birds who squirt feces all over the neighborhood from dusk until by God dawn. They're trained homing pigeons worth $2,100 F me running dollars.
Yeah, some birds can be crazy expensive.
But pigeons, wow.
Yeah. Well, trained.
Yeah, but still.
So are homing pigeons the ones that can carry messages to other people?
I bet.
Yes, Wapple.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
A
I'm
little
right.
note.
Is there someone you want to communicate with and you can't text?
Possibly. I got to go to Mike Tyson for that, right?
Oh, he loves pigeons.
He does.
He races pigeons, does he not?
He does.
Yeah.
He's had a long love affair with that brand of bird. Yeah, I could see Wapple getting a homing pigeon, and then a few days later, the pigeon's in my windowsill, and it has a message tied around its little pigeon leg. And I pull the message off the pigeon's leg, and it says, "You won't make it through the night, you son of a bitch.
Oh.
You're a dead man."
It also says buy something at the state fair.
And please don't waste our time tomorrow at the state fair. If you come to see us at the booth, by God, you better buy something.
So that last story out of Reddick, Florida, racehorse trainer Jesus said he's down there right now, and he said, take it easy. Everyone take it easy. We were talking about how the sheriff's offices are pretty funny. There's a couple, like Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd.
Oh, the best.
Yeah.
Well known for being hilarious. And he's not afraid to go after criminals and say how dumb some of them are. I mean, Florida's the capital of that, right?
He's the OG of starting that new trend.
He is. And I've mentioned it before. The trend's made it to Minnesota. The police chief in Bloomington, Booker Hodges, he's like Grady Judd North.
Yep.
If you haven't seen some of his press conferences on some of this stuff, the guy's hilarious, too.
I really like the one when they had all the sex workers here and they were busting them. He had really good lines in that one.
Jesus Christ.
Any examples?
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
See, he's better at coming up with lines than we are.
Totally.
Josh, I love you dearly. And you know already that if anything ever happens to you, if you die, well, first things first, I erase your internet search history.
Thank God.
I go ahead and kill Dana and Ashley. I frame Wapple for their murders, and then I move into your house under the name New Josh, and I take on the role of your wife's new sexual partner, just like we've always planned.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
That seems really well thought out.
I'm not going to do good in jail.
No, you're not.
I will.
How are you going to jail?
I got framed for the murders
Oh,
of
right,
Dana and
right.
Ashley.
I forgot. Didn't sound like our coworkers had much respect for our plan, Josh. I don't know if you heard.
I don't know why.
I got an okay out of one of them. But with all that said, as much as I love you, I hate that you want me to include a Bigfoot story into today's stupid news.
Well, I did warn you, it's been tough to find good stuff this week.
This stuff is so effing dumb. It truly amazes me, and not in the new way that the word amazing is used these days where people describe a damn sandwich as amazing. I'm going with the old school definition of amazing here. It amazes me that there are still morons all over the world thinking that effing Bigfoot is out there somewhere, or that they think it was ever out there. But here's the deal. There's Bigfoot video footage going around the godless internet, and the true Bigfoot lunatics are again calling it, quote, the best footage ever recorded. I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I can. The video shows supposedly a Sasquatch in the woods in Mississippi, recorded by a dude named Josh. He posted it to YouTube back in 2015. I'm not sure why it's suddenly a big deal here in 2023. The dude says he came across a Bigfoot ripping bark off a tree trunk and throwing it to the ground. He was afraid. He was on a hunting trip. He heard a noise behind a tree. He saw these big shoulders and a head upright with hands. A head with hands? He says, my first instinct was to run. I didn't even think of shooting. It was 7 foot tall. It wasn't a bear. Crazy people rallied around this nonsense. They believe it was a Bigfoot.
What percentage of people do you think actually believe or just find it kind of fun?
I think a lot of it's just kind of for fun.
I think 99% is believe and 1% fun.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That high, huh?
I'm afraid that there's like a large amount of people that like to pretend that they just think it's fun, but they actually believe.
What?
You think so?
They don't want to admit that they believe that they think if there's a Bigfoot, but they do.
I'll go along with it.
I'm just going on a big hunt for fun, for a joke.
Well, it'll be fun. Yeah. I think it'd be fun to go hunt for Bigfoot. I mean, of course,
that could be fun. Yeah.
You're not going to find anything.
I would just have nothing but beef jerky on me.
The whole thing
It's the
is
experience. Yeah, you're not going to find a thing because there is no Bigfoot.
Think of it this way. Sometimes you forget the obvious. I'm guilty of that many, many times. Do you know how many friggin', what do they call those things now? Because I'm so out of touch with technology. Motion-activated cameras. They're everywhere in the woods.
Well, and everyone has a camera on them.
And everyone, but still we got to rely on some guy with his cell phone in Mississippi spotted one.
Not to mention, they shoot some movies with iPhones, but it's always blurry when you capture one of those Bigfoot.
I don't know anybody who lives in the woods who doesn't have multiple motion, what's the term again? Motion activated cameras. But we never catch them in that fashion. It's some dude in broad daylight out in the woods in Mississippi. Stop this.
Whole Frog Protection Jesus said, Bigfoot morons, am I right? Well, off to go to the Loch Ness Monster search.
Oh. All right. We got time for one more?
Yeah, why not?
Everybody knows that you like turtles, Josh.
I like turtles.
You guys know that, right?
I've heard.
Yep.
But there's something that I don't know, Josh. Do you still own a turtle named Dude?
Yeah, we own Dude still. He's kicking.
Well, then there's something I need to warn you about, or any other turtle liker. The folks at the Center for Disease Control and Damn Prevention, they've upped and said that you shouldn't, quote, kiss or snuggle your turtle, or it could pass some of that salmonella your way.
I'd never get that far, because if you try and pick him up, he'll hiss at you.
Oh.
He doesn't like it.
I like that.
You like that?
I like that attitude. Don't touch me.
Apparently, we're right in the middle of a multi-state outbreak of salmonella linked to small turtles. They say more than 24 people have gotten sick already. And they also say the true number of sick people is likely higher than the number reported due to people recovering on their own without medical attention or going through salmonella testing. Now, I think this is all made up. It'll mysteriously disappear once the election is over. But others are worried about this.
I've heard that's absolutely terrible. When you're sick
Salmonella?
with that, yeah.
Oh, it's the worst.
Oh, you've had it?
Yeah, I almost died.
God dang! How did you pick up salmonella?
Peanut butter crackers from a gas station.
Oh!
Big peanut butter.
Are you sure that was it? Did they
Oh yeah,
released
no.
it on it?
I had to spend a couple hours on the phone with the the disease control people, and
Sure.
had to go through the last 10 to 12 days, try to recount every single meal I had leading up to it. And then I remember mentioning the peanut butter crackers. I ended up getting like $75 in some class action lawsuit.
Well, tell us about so you're splashing out the front end.
Both ends.
You're splashing out the back end.
I couldn't even take a sip of water without it coming right back.
Now, you said you almost died. Were you exaggerating, or
No.
you legitimately?
So I wasn't getting any better. I kept calling the doctor. They're like, yeah, just write it out, man. Just write it out. And my mom got to a point where she's like, something's not right here. That you're not getting better. I didn't have any fluids or anything to eat for over a week, basically.
Jesus, criminy.
She took me to the ER, and they immediately rushed me back and threw me some IVs in me. And they'd said, like, you're very lucky that you got brought in here. Otherwise, your body was on the verge of shutting down if I hadn't gotten some fluids in me.
Splashing out the front, splashing out the back. You're sweating bullets.
Mm-hmm. Basically just slept in the bathroom.
New guy in the corner. What's he doing?
Oh, he was puking his guts out. You should have seen him everywhere.
God, I'm sorry to hear that. Sounds miserable. So they say, look out for these turtles. Don't kiss or snuggle your turtle, and don't eat or drink around it.
Sharing a beer with your turtle.
This can spread salmonella germs to your mouth and make you sick. Seek medical. You want to hear the symptoms? Seek medical attention if you develop a 102-degree fever. Woo-wee, you're cooking. Also, see a doctor if you are vomiting or dehydrated, or if you have bloody and or persistent diarrhea for more than 3 days.
Did you have bloody?
I don't think it was blood. I don't even know if I remember if I looked or not.
Thank God I've never had that.
Yeah.
If I had bloody diarrhea just one day, I would go in.
So would I.
3.
You're supposed to.
Actually, if you had bloody diarrhea, I'd go in. I don't want to be anywhere around something like that.
It starts with a slight fever and dryness of the throat. And when the virus penetrates the red blood cells, the victim becomes dizzy, begins to experience an itchy rash. Then the poison goes to work on the central nervous system, severe muscle spasms, followed by the inevitable drooling. At this point, the entire digestive system collapses, accompanied by uncontrollable flatulence, until finally the poor bastard is reduced to a quivering, wasted piece of jelly. What movie? Oh, come on.
Is it,
Sorry.
It's one of those, oh my gosh.
You better tell the captain we got to land as soon as we can.
Yeah, airplane.
This woman has gotten to be, we got to bring her to a hospital. A hospital, what is it? It's a big building with patients, but that's not important right now.
Yeah, I knew it was Leslie Nielsen in the movie. I couldn't remember the movie at first. Yeah, airplane.
Captain, how soon can you land? I can't tell. You can tell me. I'm a doctor. No, I mean, I'm just not sure. Well, can't you take a guess? Well, not for another 2 hours. You can't take a guess for another 2 hours? Okay, I'm the only one who's lost in lines from airplane. The rest of you don't care, and I'm angry about it.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
I didn't want to be president. I didn't want to be anything. I knew what I wanted to be since I could walk. I wanted to wrestle.
Terry Funk has just achieved the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
I'm going to go ahead and prove to you people that I will be the finest champion that this world has ever seen.
The Funks are legends. I've always looked up to Terry Funk. I love watching him work in the ring. I love the unpredictability.
Unbelievable work ethic, and Terry Funk was a great performer. I learned a lot from Terry Funk.
There is just one of me.
Terry Funk is one of the nicest guys, one of the kindest guys. I feel fortunate. He had a way of bringing out the best in me.
Terry Funk, Cactus Jack are the new tag team champions.
Before it was fashionable to call ourselves ECW, Terry Funk was extreme.
I want to thank you so much.
I'll be damned. It's a sad day. We don't have really time to get into it right now. We can get into it in about a half hour when Randy Shaver jumps on with us, but one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Terry Funk, has passed away. I'm sad to tell you, at 79 years old. All we have time to really say, we got to get going. I'll just say this for now, and then we'll get into it in a half hour, because he's worth spending some time talking about. The United States is a little less tough without Terry Funk.
Amen.
I'll tell you that right now. That son of a bitch was tough. It's a damn shame, but he was one of the greats, and we'll never forget him. The Twins' trip over to Wisconsin turned out a lot like a lot of the trips that Minnesotans make to Wisconsin. It did more harm than good. It wasn't worth the hassle.
Regrettable?
Man, the fellas looked miserable yesterday at the ball game. Did you see any of the game?
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, they went extras. I really thought the umps might call it. Really, by the 10th inning, players were starting to look like ass. There's only so much you can take when it's that effing hot. The friggin' Brewers rallied to beat the Twins 8-7 in 10 innings. We'll tell you more at 7:30. Tonight they're right back at it. The first of 4 with the Texas Rangers, 6 o'clock on Bally Sports. Pablo Lopez takes the hill tonight. Stay tuned for Josh's news.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, Minnesota. CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace or AC is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Are you currently enjoying the show on the Stitcher app? Then you need to know Stitcher is going away on August 29th. Yep, going away, as in kaput, gone, dead. Rest in peace, Stitcher, and thanks for 15 years of service to the podcast community. So switch to another podcast app and follow this show there. Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Today, day 1 of the Minnesota State Fair.
Woo.
And with a predicted high temperature of 89 degrees and heat advisories, Ashley will beat the heat indoors at the State Fair with some animalistic passion on a bathroom floor, as she's been known to do. Tonight's grandstand headliners, the Black Keys. Then this evening at 8:30 at the Leinie Lodge Band Shell, the Bacon Brothers, led by Kevin Bacon, a.k.a. Ren McCormack in 1984's Footloose. Then tomorrow morning, the morning show arrives at the 93X booth about 10 a.m. You can join us along with our adult actress friend Jordan Max, making a special appearance, possibly another special guest as well. We're waiting on confirmation.
So you're telling me that at the band shell, the Leinie's band shell, Kevin Bacon, the actor, is going to be playing live music?
Yes, with the Bacon Brothers. I think they've played the State Fair before.
I had no idea. When I looked that up last night, that was the first. I was like, the Bacon Brother. I'm like, that's not Kevin. It is Kevin Bacon.
That is so sweet.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon. They've been a band for a very long time, and they've been brothers their whole lives.
Really?
Yeah.
I should go apologize to him for getting him mixed up with that other actor and claiming that I've hated Kevin Bacon for like 5 years now.
Who's the actor you hate?
Oh, gosh. Darn it, I can't think of
Bacon?
it. No,
You know,
me
that
and
would've brought
Wapple
this-
me and Wapple figured it out finally.
That kind of information would have brought the story full circle.
Yeah, if we knew. You don't hate him that bad then. You don't even know his
I
name.
think it's Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey?
Yeah, that's the one she said.
What's he ever done?
And then you got him confused with the guy from Yellowstone.
Kevin Costner?
Kevin Costner, yeah. She was like, I hate that Kevin Costner guy. And I was like, wait, what is he
Get your
ever
Kevin
done?
straight. My God.
Yeah, maybe a bit of an inside joke, but I don't know if you like many Kevins. The Black Box That Rocks is on Dan Patch Avenue, just west of the grandstand, across from Sweet Martha's Cookies, which, by the way, is 6 degrees northwest of Kevin Bacon, and he will perform again tomorrow night.
What kind of instrument does he play, Kevin Bacon's?
Well, I think he sings, and maybe the guitar as well.
Yeah, he's pictured here with a guitar.
Yeah, isn't he the singer of the band?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, I thought so.
He comes off like a very likable guy.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
But I'll tell you this much, Cubby. I don't know, 6-8 months ago, for the very first time in my life, I sat down and watched Footloose from start to finish. How in God's name did that movie make $15?
I've never seen it, actually.
That is one of the worst, awful piles of
You just saved me 2 hours of my life. Thanks, Nick.
We're thinking of watching it?
Yeah, everyone said, like, how have you not seen Footloose? Okay.
Holy balls.
Was his brother Michael just pretty much known for this? Did he do any acting?
Wapple, we're not very good at all this. Let's just move on. You know what I mean?
I feel like their mom was like, Kevin, you have to be in the band with your brother. He's got nothing else to do.
That's possible. Well, does Kenny Loggins make it worth it to watch Footloose with the theme song?
No.
He doesn't?
No.
Pablo broadcasts live today. we were mentioning earlier, you can win an autograph, Godsmack, guitar, plenty of new 93X gear. Last year's day one attendance, the one to beat this year, 121,478 folks swung through the gates.
I bet we won't sell too many hoodies today at the 93X booth.
I'd imagine you're right.
A lot of sunglasses, I bet, though.
And again, our motto is buy something or get out.
We got beer koozies.
We do? Mm-hmm. Yeah, put on one of those. One more thing, Slipknot and Stone Sour frontman Corey Taylor will drop by the 93X booth Monday afternoon, brought to you by One Nation Exteriors.
That ought to be something, right, Cubby?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's fun. You'll soon be able to walk the streets of a northern Twin Cities suburb with an alcoholic beverage in your hand. Starting September 6th, the pilot program for the first social district in Minnesota will begin in Anoka. A press release from the city said a social district is a specific area which allows people to purchase and drink beer, wine, and cocktails from a licensed business and then walk around.
Wait a minute. It was illegal to drink on the streets of Anoka?
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to carry it around, right?
Yeah, they're not technically supposed to.
The social district was made possible by a liquor bill passed in the most recent legislative session, and I love paying attention to those. The Anoka City Council passed its own regulations regarding the district on Monday. The pilot program lasts through October 7th. There's grab-and-go drinking allowed from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. After the pilot program ends, the city will gather information to present to the city and state officials.
City wants it to be something like Bourbon Street, where it kind of brings people in. It makes downtown Anoka a destination.
If it works well for Anoka, I don't see why we wouldn't do it for other places around the state.
The city said businesses serving to-go drinks will have a window cling displayed, and other businesses will be displaying whether or not they allow customers to carry in outside drinks.
This is funny because I bet, Josh, if you would have asked us which town in Minnesota is going to make it legal to walk down the street drinking, I bet you all of us would have said Anoka.
Yeah, or somewhere in Anoka County.
Yeah. The mayor's thinking, look, half of our citizens are walking on the sidewalk with a bottle in their hand. Let's just make it legal.
And he gave up.
He said that right after beer bonging on Main Street. Walt Disney loved trains, and he prioritized their inclusion at Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World Resort. To this day, the Disneyland Railroad is one of the more beloved Disney park attractions, serving as both a train ride and a mode of transportation around the Disney park. But for one couple, the ride was not entertaining enough on its own. They were caught having some railroad sex.
Oh.
A witness said they were waiting for the Disneyland Railroad at the Main Street station when a disturbing sight appeared at the back of the incoming train. It was pretty nasty, one guest recalled.
Nasty.
It's unknown if the misbehaving couple were disciplined upon arrival at the station.
I'd like them to explain nasty.
I do too.
Yeah, it sounds like there was some heavy petting, and then they just went for it. In February, a couple was apprehended at Walt Disney World Resort after having intercourse on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride with families around. A week before that incident, adult content creator Katie Cat Davis proudly flashed her bare chest at Epcot. And last year, an adult film star named Rebecca Starshine shut down the under-the-sea Journey of the Little Mermaid ride at Magic Kingdom after making sexual content on that ride.
Yeah, she did.
A suburban New York police chief who once led the Gilgo Beach killings investigation was arrested Tuesday after authorities say he attempted to engage in sex with an undercover ranger at a Long Island park.
He's being charged with offering a sex act, indecent exposure, public lewdness, and criminal solicitation, 5th degree. Additional charges may be pending.
It's kind of sleazy, huh?
Offering a sex act.
Yeah, he offered to perform something on
for money.
Someone.
James, meaning I will pay you
yes.
to perform. James Burke, Suffolk County's police chief from 2012 to 2015, was arrested about 10:15 a.m. at Vietnam Veterans Memorial Park. Come on, man. After exposing himself to the ranger and saying he was interested in performing oral sex on him.
Members assigned to the Suffolk County Park Rangers Targeted Response Unit conducted an operation utilizing plainclothes rangers. During this operation, they engaged one individual who was soliciting for sexual engagement.
The 58-year-old then attempted to leverage his status as a former law enforcement official to get out of the arrest.
Of course.
Which was part of a targeted operation spurred by complaints about people soliciting sex in that park.
Not until he identified himself and said who he was, do you know who I am?
He was expressing to us how this would be a public humiliation for him.
Well, sure.
One of the sheriffs thought it was pretty funny that his officer said, "I have no idea who you are." Do you know who I am? No, I do not.
I mean, hell yeah, that's humiliating. Maybe don't offer someone a BJ on the sidewalk if you're afraid of being humiliated. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, that seems like a pretty easy one.
But they also say, Josh, everyone loves a man in uniform, right?
Yeah, it's tough to turn down.
Yeah.
We've all been there. Burke is charged with offering a sex act, public lewdness, indecent exposure, and criminal solicitation. During his tenure, he oversaw the high-profile investigation into the deaths of multiple sex workers whose remains were found in the area of Gilgo Beach on a desolate stretch of Long Island coastline. He'd been criticized over his handling of that investigation by other law enforcement officials who actually said they believe he blocked his department's cooperation with federal authorities.
Oh.
A man suspected of committing at least 3 of those killings was arrested earlier this summer. Burke himself resigned in late 2015, amongst other allegations.
What a mess.
Spooky.
We talked about it a little bit in the earlier sports segment. Terry Funk, the man Ric Flair called a great wrestler, entertainer, unbelievably fearless, and a great friend, passed away at the age of 79. In his tribute, Mick Foley, a multiple-time WWE champion, called Funk the greatest wrestler he ever saw.
Introducing first, ladies and gentlemen, former heavyweight champion and the challenger for the belt at 232 pounds from Umbarger, Texas, Terry Funk.
Hey, would you like to tell us what the f***'s going on? It's gonna help or not?
I'll let you know.
You know, I heard you had balls big enough to come in a dump truck, but you don't look like much to me.
Funk also has numerous film and television credits. He appeared as a bouncer in the movie Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. In 1999, he was featured in the wrestling documentary Beyond the Mat. He also appeared in other movies such as Paradise Alley, The Ringer, and Over the Top. Plus, he choreographed the street fight between Rocky Balboa and his nemesis Tommy Gunn at the end of Rocky V.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Funk had a short-lived career in music. He released the album Great Texan in 1984.
I got to buy that.
Which has become a cult classic amongst fans.
I got to buy that. I didn't know he ever put out a record.
Yeah, Great Texan.
Do you have in there that he shook my hand at Target Center in 1997?
You know what? It didn't see that in the article.
Fair enough.
Did you have in there that he's the inventor of the exploding barbed wire death match?
No, I didn't even put that in there. I didn't know.
Darn it.
I wasn't aware of that. Where were you a little bit ago? A cause of death was not officially revealed, but Terry's health issues became public in 2021. He was moved to an assisted living home in Amarillo, Texas, amid a dementia battle.
I mean, what a great performer. Just one of the greats of all time. And by all accounts, you know, Terry was a genuine article. How does a grown person say this, Josh? What you saw is what you got from Terry Funk.
It came across that way.
There was nothing phony about him. He was who he was. He was comfortable in his own skin. He's a cowboy from Texas, and you know, but a very respectful guy. Tough day for wrestling fans, no doubt about it.
I didn't realize how late it was.
Well, we were having so much.
Geez. Yeah, I want to.
Too much Kevin Bacon talk.
There's never enough Kevin Bacon talk.
You got into a zone.
Yeah. Oh well.
You gave up on life, didn't you?
Maybe tomorrow we can get to some at this point old stories, but I really wanted to get to them.
Well, what do you? We can make Shaver wait. What do you think he's doing right now? He's probably taking a dump.
You think so?
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't like to make Randy wait. I don't like to make Randy fans wait.
He's probably doing crunches or something.
Yeah, he does.
Make Randy wait. Make Randy wait. Make Randy wait.
All right,
Randy
one more
sucks. Randy sucks.
After 2 long years, season 3 of the Norwegian fantasy drama Ragnarok is back to dish out some Norse mythology today on Netflix. The series follows a socially awkward teen who confronts an influential family after his friend dies in a freak accident. Also on Netflix, the new series Who is Aaron Carter? 5 years after leaving England with her daughter, Aaron Carter is working as a substitute teacher at an exclusive Barcelona international school. But after she fearlessly takes down gun-wielding robbers at a supermarket, people start asking questions. Comedian Dave Chappelle, 50 today. Retired NBA All-Star and basketball commentator for TNT, Reggie Miller, 58. He looks good for 58.
I love Reggie.
Yeah, he really does.
David Koechner, Champ Kind in the Anchorman movies. Todd Packer in The Office, 61. Baseball Hall of Famer who didn't miss a day of work for 16 years. Cal Ripken Jr., 63. In the Brotherhood, Fun Size She and Sisterhood, Fun Size Jesus said happy birthday to her ride or die best friend, Samich. Happy belated birthday to Mosh Crusher Jesus, and that's 93X News.
KARE 11's Randy Shaver.
Hey, pervert! What are you doing?
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
He even got them tags. Let me tell you what he wasn't doing. He wasn't in the gym. I bet you that.
Come on,
he wasn't with me. He might have spent a lot of time at the tattoo parlor. He was not at the dinner table eating what the nutritionist had advised. He is thick.
He's thick.
Yeah, he's built like girls work at Onyx in Atlanta right now on the bottom.
I don't know. It's a little weird when other people are talking about other people when they're not that person. I come from a Samoan family. Like, respect is everything. Does get to a point where, hey, little easy on that, buddy, because we're pretty tough-minded people, and if we need to get scrappy, we can get scrappy too. Just saying. Takes a lot. You think I wanted to build all this muscle? Like, nah. To some extent, like, I want it to be a little lighter. There's a mixture of things that people don't understand, that people don't know about, that are talked about, that go behind the scenes. So I'd appreciate if you kept my name out your mouth. That's what I'd say.
Keep my name out your mouth!
That's great.
I feel the same way. Keep my name out of your mouth.
Well, then we won't say Randy Shaver today. We'll just call you the Ass Man.
There you go.
Let's
Why
pull
not?
the Ass Man.
On the day of the state fair, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure
Sorry,
you could not be more excited than to be still working in television on day one of the Minnesota State Fair.
I couldn't sleep last night. I was so excited.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. You heading out there this afternoon then, Randy, to broadcast live?
I certainly am.
Yes, you are.
Certainly.
Nice. Get a cheese on a stick for me.
No, thanks.
He knows what he likes. He wants a milkshake.
Loves the mixed milkshake.
I might try that.
A milkshake and a good slap in the mouth, and he calls it a day.
That's it.
There you go, Randy Shaver. Our sympathies go out to you because we know you don't like walking around out there and going out.
I won't be walking around. That's for sure.
Well, no. What I mean is just the act of walking from your car to the friggin' broadcast booth, the KARE 11.
True.
You don't like any of this.
You know how they at Taylor Swift's concerts they put her in like laundry bin to get her to the stage, in front of the people.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I bet Shaver wants one of those. So you just gets out of the car, they put you in some little hidden container, and they just wheel you to the KARE bar.
I just head right to the trailer out there, and I don't come out till it's showtime.
Yeah, that concert in the round Def Leppard did the same thing with like catering carts.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you see 5 catering carts come out, and you know they're in there.
We're making an appearance out there tomorrow from 10 to noon. No shot you're going to join us?
Good. What's that?
No shot you're going to join us?
Oh, 0.
Fair enough.
0 shot.
I understand how you operate come fair time. We're out there on this street or that street. We're over by the Midway. It's how do you call it? Sweet Martha's is right across the street. I got a text message from a listener who used to work at the Sweet Martha's cookies booth there right in our neighborhood there at the fair, and he said he had a great time. He loved it, and he loved working for Martha. You want to know what his Jesus name is? I'll tell you. It looks like a turtle resting its head on 2 oranges, Jesus.
Creative.
Wow. That's a visual.
Just be thankful he's no longer serving cookies at the state fair. Or making them, or whatever he did for Sweet Martha.
So are you no longer by the grandstand?
Yeah.
Did you guys move?
Yeah, we're
still just a little further away, but
okay.
We're like across the street where we originally were.
It kind of seems like every year they move us a little further away from the grandstand.
Yeah.
Yep.
Randy
I noticed
Shaver,
that.
you know where the Sweet Martha's is? There by the barbecue shack, and then there's the grandstand.
Well, there's a couple of Sweet Martha stands.
Well,
there's
I know,
one
but
behind,
the
there's one
one
behind
by
our
the
barn, so that's my only reference. But
the one by the barbecue joint, and then there's the grandstand. You're not picturing that?
I do. I remember where you guys were located.
We're
before.
over in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Josh has the street somewhere. I never follow the streets.
It's like
Dan
Patch Avenue.
Yep.
I just go take a right at the this or take a left at the that. I don't know the street.
I think we've always been on Dan Patch.
So there you go. But we'll get more into that tomorrow. We'll be out there for a couple hours. Our opening audio there. I'm not familiar with an ESPN NFL analyst by the name of Ryan Clark.
Yep, he's been on there. He's very good.
Is he good? What do you think? What do you make of what he said yesterday? He made an interesting comment about Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, whatever the hell. He compared Tua's build to that of a stripper. He said he's thick. He's built like a girl working at Onyx Gentlemen's Club in Atlanta right now on the bottom. Saying he's got a big butt. Saying that Tua doesn't look like he worked out much in the offseason. And then you heard Tua's comment where he more or less said, keep my name out your yapper.
Right.
Big butt usually means big thighs. It's good, right? Big, strong thighs.
Yeah. If that's what you're into, I don't know.
I think that's kind of what you need.
I don't think I've ever heard an analyst make that kind of a comment about an athlete, unless I'm forgetting something obvious.
I mean, unless Ryan Clark knows for sure that the guy wasn't in the gym in the offseason, that's kind of a rude comment to make if you're not really sure. Tua obviously took offense to it, didn't appreciate it.
No, he did not.
That's rude.
He did not.
I mean, I guess the proof is in this season and how he plays, and I guess we'll find out week 1 what kind of shape Tua's in, because I don't think he'll play in the preseason or be.
I'm sure he'll be fine.
I'm sure he will be too. He's a very accurate thrower. He's a mobile quarterback. His issue has always been staying healthy, and that's you could say that about a lot of players in the NFL.
You know, Randy Shaver, we'll get back to some more football stuff here a little bit later. If you like.
Not one of my top quarterbacks that I would take in a fantasy team, but he's a good player.
No? Well.
Seems like anytime I watch the Dolphins play, he just gets obliterated and just laid out on the field.
He's so much littler than the rest of the fellas.
He is.
Just like that quarterback.
But he is mobile enough to get himself out of trouble.
Hell yes. Who's that little quarterback in Arizona?
Kyler Murray?
Jesus, can that guy...
He's always hurt, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, he can scoot around like a son of a bitch,
though. He can run. That's
Man,
for sure.
I really like watching those kinds of quarterbacks. You know, there's still something to be said about those tough guys, stay in the pocket type quarterbacks. But sometimes the ones that can run like the wind, that's fun. All right. Like I said, we'll get back to some more football later if you think you can tolerate it. But we talked a little bit, Randy Shaver, about the passing of Terry Funk, one of the greatest television wrestlers of all time. I said earlier, the United States of America is just a little less tough without Terry Funk on our side. 79 years old, died. Was it just yesterday or 2 days ago?
Well, they announced it yesterday. Let me see.
Looks like yesterday.
Okay. Randy, familiar with Terry Funk?
I know the name, yes.
My damn.
Not really sure of all the credentials, but yes.
What a career. What a career. What an influence on so many men and women in television wrestling. The comments from Mick Foley are the ones that really grabbed me, because those guys were as close as friends can be. And they were such incredible performers together. It was violent. It was tough to watch what Mick Foley and Terry Funk became known for when they went over to Japan and did all those fluorescent light bulb, barbed wire, flamethrower, thumbtack, razor blade matches. I mean, it was stomach-churning stuff. It's hard to believe the two of them were able to walk out of there.
Yeah, and Japan is where he invented the exploding barbed wire death match.
Randy Shaver, the exploding barbed wire death match.
You in?
No, I'm out.
Oh, darn.
They should bring that to the Olympics.
Doesn't sound fun.
One day, I think Wapple and I, we're finally going to go ahead and it'll be the two of us one-on-one in an exploding barbed wire death match, and we will be torn to shreds and love every single solitary second of it, just like Funk and Foley did.
I think you should try and pull that off tomorrow morning between 10 and noon at the State Fair.
That would get a crowd.
That'd be awesome.
Can you give us until the second Friday of the fair so we can work out some spots, as they say in the business?
I would absolutely give you that grace to work it all out.
We got to work out some spots. It's an industry term.
Oh, I'm definitely using something with cheese curds.
Can you go. Give me a little background on this exploding razor? What'd you call it?
Barbed wire
death match.
Well, it was something that they created in Japan in the 90s.
Like what happens exactly?
So the ropes are completely made of barbed wire,
right.
obviously.
Oh.
Yeah, and then on the outside of the ring, so the ring has the apron, and then on the outside where the mats and stuff would be, they have pyro and stuff that would explode. So if you got thrown into the barbed wire, that side would explode.
It triggers
Oh my gosh.
an explosion.
Oh,
Sometimes Wapple, correct me if I'm wrong, there were little, almost like a landmine type situation. If a wrestler stepped in a certain spot, it would set off the pyro.
And this is all legit, right? Like that barbed wire was barbed wire, wasn't
Yes,
it?
and it would, and then say their hair would catch on fire sometimes with the explosions, and they'd just be cut to shreds.
Mm-hmm.
And Japanese people going wild in the stands if, in fact, on that particular evening, Mr. Big wasn't playing one of 11 sold-out shows. So when I read Mick Foley's thoughts on it, it's touching. Where he talks about, we lost a legend. There'll never be another performer like him. God bless Terry, his friends, his family, all who loved him. It was an honor to know you. He was my mentor, my idol, one of my closest friends. He was the greatest wrestler I ever saw. And I love how Foley tries to get you to, if you don't know, check it out. He says, if you get the chance, look up a Terry Funk match or a Terry Funk promo and give thanks that this incredible man gave so much for so long to so many. Terry Funk was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, the WCW Hall of Fame, the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Stampede Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Hardcore Hall of Fame, the International Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, the George Tragos Lou Thies Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, and the NWA Hall of Fame.
Jeez. That's a hell of a run.
I mean, because he pioneered this hardcore style, again, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but he was the brains behind Hell in a Cell, which has become one of WWE's most infamous matches.
Yeah, I'd read that as well.
I think he's behind a lot of those matches. Like, I want to say he might even have something to do with the Elimination Chamber.
I mean, the infamous Hell in a Cell with Foley and Undertaker, it was Terry Funk who said, hey, start the match up on top of the cage.
Terry Funk's the one that you see him run down first to get next to Mick Foley when he's tossed off.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I know. I caught that as well.
I'm sure Terry would appreciate that.
The man just passed.
That's a tough moment. It really is to watch, because when Foley comes through the top of the cage and lands in the mat, after first being thrown off the top of the cage and landing on the broadcast table, then he takes the bump through the cage down onto the ring. I mean, you hear it in the call. Jerry Lawler says, that's it, he's dead. And the concern was real. And when you see Terry Funk break kayfabe, or how do you say it again? Break kayfabe to run in and show concern for Foley, that was all legit. They really thought, okay, there's a possibility this man might be dead. I don't want to go on and on and on and on, but I just want to tell my favorite Terry Funk story. This is the way I heard it. Now, he and Ric Flair had such great matches together when they were young.
Mm-hmm.
They were just beautiful together, and it was just the best. Some of the best you can find is video of matches of Funk and Flair from back in the day.
That I Quit match.
That was a WCW match, was it not?
Yeah, I think it was Clash of Champions.
Okay. In one particular match, Funk and Flair are talking it over backstage, and the agreement, again, this is the story I heard, the agreement was that Funk, this was on television, this was on Ted Turner's network. What do they call it? TNT. This was on TNT, early 90s. So we hadn't gotten into the really violent stuff yet on television for television wrestling. So the plan was Funk's going to run in the ring and he's going to get his hands around Flair's neck and choke him for a while. Then they're going to go to commercial, right? Well, Funk had a last-minute idea, and there they are live on television. He runs up on Flair, and he starts choking him, and then he pulls a plastic bag out of his pants, and he puts the plastic bag over Flair's neck. Over his head.
Oh, man.
And he's choking the living hell out of him with the plastic bag, and you can see the oxygen being sucked in and out by Flair. And when they go to commercial, and everyone's angry. As a matter of fact, I think for years, WCW deleted that from any highlight package. Well, what Funk didn't know is that he really was killing Ric Flair. They got off television. They go backstage, and Flair says, "Jesus, what's the matter with you? I almost died." And Funk's like, "What do you mean you almost died?" Well, you can't put a plastic bag over someone's head. Funk didn't know. He just, he's a farm boy. He didn't know that he legitimately, and everyone's, I just thought that was hilarious that he said, "Well, Jesus, I'm sorry. I thought you could breathe." Well, no.
My bad, man. My bad.
So there you go. Speaking of near-death experiences, how about yesterday's Twins-Brewers game? I mean, that was...
Well, the bullpen, once again, it's going to be... It could very well be a deciding issue for this team as we head into September. Not a good deal yesterday. And Duran, was part of it. A guy who's been pretty good throughout the entire year. Once again... struggled. So,
but my damn, it was crazy hot.
And I give Ryan Jeffers credit for catching the entire damn game.
Gross.
Both of them actually, except Caratini did the same thing. But that's just brutal.
I thought Jeffers was dead when he was running to
first base.
10th inning.
Man, he was done. His legs. I said to everyone earlier, I was wondering in the 9th, in the 10th, I was wondering if the umps might call the game because players were starting to look like bloodless zombies out there.
Yeah.
In the end, the Twins, like you said, the bullpen couldn't hold their mud. The Brewers came back to win 8-7. It's concerning. You're right. It was one of the hottest days in their home stadium's history.
Yeah.
During the pregame, one of the first people to see Glenn Perkins standing there doing the pregame show, and you could just see on his face how hot it was. He just looked miserable.
Yeah.
And then they had poor Audra Martin down on the field reporting. Put her in a room with some air conditioning. She doesn't need to be standing there.
That was rough. Yeah, the boys hit some dongs, Lewis and Taylor and Farmer, but the bullpen, with a 3-run lead, it didn't hold, and that hurts. Rocco Baldelli said it was like playing in a sauna.
Yeah.
The roof was partially open to provide some shade for the fans, but they have no air conditioning, like Dick Bramer said a couple days ago. So when they close that lid,
right?
There's
no
sounds
circulation.
Awful.
Yeah.
Oh man!
And it doesn't get much better temperature-wise today. Maybe a little bit better today when they take on Texas at Target Field, but
this will be the last of the hot games. I think Saturday, Sunday we're supposed to calm down a little bit with the heat, but boy, I bet some guys. Better. I wonder how many. You look at a guy like Jeffers. What do you suppose? Some bitch loses 10 pounds yesterday, probably?
Easily lost 10 pounds.
I think you just throw that uniform away. There's no sense in washing that thing.
It's done.
You punt and move on. We'll get a new jersey for him from the pro shop.
It's pretty gross.
Pablo Lopez tonight, Randy.
Well, that's a good thing. Obviously the guy has been pitching very well, so hopefully he'll be able to get this thing going. Texas has been really struggling. They've lost 6 in a row coming into this game tonight, and they've got Houston sitting right behind them. So this is a huge series for them, and it's a 4-game series. So you're going to get a chance to see, pretty much what Texas has as far as their pitching staff, and you're going to get Heaney tonight. You're going to see Dunning, who's had a great year, on Friday. Scherzer on Saturday. And Jordan Montgomery. So the 2 new pitchers for them will pitch on the weekend. So it's going to be a big series. There's just no doubt about it. It's a big series for both teams.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do against the Rangers. Absolutely.
It's probably the biggest series so far this year. And I say that only because the Twins are facing a team that's really good, put together well, stumbling a little bit now, but definitely a playoff team, and these are the kind of games as you head into September that you've got to prove you can win. So.
There you go. Not to backtrack or throw us off track, but listeners have been texting in on the passing of Terry Funk. And one of the texts I really enjoyed, a listener said, "Death didn't take Terry Funk. Death showed up, and Terry said, F you, and is currently chasing death into the afterlife to kick its ass.
That's great.
And thank you for asking. Dumbass Welder Jesus texted in. He wanted to know that wrestling saying from Jeff Jarrett that I've said before on the radio that I thought was just perfect. On the topic of so many people love television wrestling, but there are so many people who still just hate it and refuse to accept it as a sport. And the quote is, thank you again for asking, Dumbass Welder Jesus. Jeff Jarrett said, if you get it, no explanation is necessary. If you don't, no explanation is good enough. I'll always remember that one. Yeah. Back to baseball. We had an ejection for an illegal substance in baseball yesterday. San Diego Padres reliever Robert Suarez was ejected. He was called on to pitch in the top of the 8th in the Padres game against the Marlins. He was thrown out before he even threw a pitch.
So Suarez will not be coming into this game, and they're going to have to get somebody else up and heat it up.
Well, that's disappointing.
He was coming in here for the 8th inning and has failed the test, and the back of the hand is the issue. And the ejection right there. Coming from Todd Tichenor, the crew chief. And now Bob's coming out.
Well, deemed too sticky, right? You can't have any sticky substance of any kind.
Never even threw a pitch.
Bummer.
Well, obviously, these guys know they're going to get checked before they even throw a pitch, right?
Yeah.
I mean, every inning they're going to get checked.
This guy said it was sunblock. He had just a regular amount of sunblock on his arms and whatnot because he was sitting out in the sun, in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And he'll possibly, what's the word I'm looking for, Josh? Appeal. The 3 previous pitchers who have been suspended this year for foreign substances, Max Scherzer, Domingo Germán, and Drew Smith, all waived their appeals. I doubt this guy will do anything about it. But he is an important member of the Padres bullpen, and they're in the mix, aren't they, Randy, the Padres, to possibly...
Yeah, they're hanging in there. That division is starting to become the Dodgers division after a slow start by the Dodgers. So, but San Diego's loaded. They've got so much talent. I guess I shouldn't say that San Diego's in it. They're 6 games under 500.
Oh, I wasn't aware of where they were sitting. I know they've had
I know the Dodgers have taken over that division, and they're way ahead, but yeah.
Another text on Terry Funk, and this comes from somebody who was in the business for many years. Local legend, former wrestling referee Rob Page. I thought I was pretty much the bee's knees earlier when I mentioned that Terry Funk did shake my hand in 1997 at Target Center for a WCW show. He was there backstage, and I had a chance to say hello to him. But this beats the living hell out of that. Former referee Rob Page says Terry Funk once came to my aid after that punk Eric Cannon DDT'd me. And he says Terry Funk was the nicest guy there was.
That's awesome.
I got to tell you a little story here next for this next route we're going to take. I don't normally like to talk much about soccer fans because I don't like them very much. But this is very funny what a soccer fan or a group of soccer fans put together. Oh, in Spain. This is a soccer club called Spain Malaga CF. I don't know what that means, but I know this. They're not very good. They haven't had a lot to cheer about in recent years. I have to give you this setup or you're not going to follow the bit. They've had financial problems on this team, the Spain Malaga CF. They've had to sell off some of their best players, and they continue to suck eggs. A group of their fans decided to put on this bit after their team failed to make any notable signings over the summer. No big free agents. They didn't do anything. Now, if you follow soccer, and I don't know why you would, Lionel Messi is one of these big-time players, and when he joins a club, when he gets off the airport in whatever town he's playing in, the fan base shows up in full force, and they just go bananas, right?
Yep.
Right.
So now you got this Malaga CF garbage pile team in Spain. They can't win any games. They never sign any decent players. The fan base went to the airport the other day and they pretended that they were there to celebrate the arrival of a big-time player. But there is no big-time player. Some random dude gets off the airplane, and they all come rushing over. Yay!
That's awesome.
There he is! And they hand him not really a jersey. It was a T-shirt, and someone took a magic marker and wrote jersey number, take a wild guess, 69 on it. And they hand it to this guy, welcome to town. And the guy's looking behind him. Who are you here for? Me? Why are you? Yeah, is the video up on our website?
I didn't get that one.
You didn't get
it was
that
from a
one.
few days ago. I think you did post.
Oh, yep. Then it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look for that on 93x.com. It's very funny. It's very clear the dude they targeted had no idea what he had gotten himself into. He has no idea why these people are rushing him and handing him a T-shirt that says 69 on it.
I love that he plays along and he's going to autograph it.
Well, after a while, I mean, but Wapple, didn't it look to you? This is the way it looked to me. Even when he's dumping his first autograph to somebody, he's still wondering why he's doing this.
Yeah. I don't know if he really was playing along at first. He was just kind of confused. Oh, okay, all right.
Right, so even when he signs his first autograph, he's still trying to figure out, okay, am I somebody? I don't know.
Did I do something amazing?
That's a great bit. That would make a long airplane ride worthwhile if you step off and suddenly everyone's like, that's the guy right there. Yay! Who does this T.J. Hawkinson guy think he is? Randy Shaver.
What's the problem?
Well, according to some stories I'm reading this morning, this T.J. Hawkinson guy who plays tight end for the Vikings,
right?
He's in discussions with the ball club about a new contract. He's in his last contract now. He wants to sign a new one. The Vikings want him to sign a new one before too long, right? They don't want the hassle. But he wants, according to a couple stories, he wants to reset the market with a historic contract extension for tight ends.
I don't know if that would be something that I mean, T.J. Hawkinson is very good. Don't get me wrong, but he's not Travis Kelce.
Why's he got to start problems?
Yeah. Well, and he's also, I think, been slowed a little bit by some injuries here in the.
Yeah, he's got to deal with the lower back thing now.
How long do they usually get signed for?
It depends. I mean, you can 3-4 year contracts are not uncommon, and tight ends are. I mean, the game has evolved so much that Travis Kelce set the bar for what tight ends should be. And then you've got guys like Mark Andrews at Baltimore, who's not that far behind Kelce. He's very, very good. Hawkinson's in that group. I mean, he's in the top 5. There's no doubt. And the Vikings throw the ball enough where the guy gets a lot of work and can show what he can do.
Well, it doesn't hurt that Travis Kelce, that he's got what's-his-nuts back there.
Well,
slinging the football at him.
Well, it doesn't hurt that Cousins is there for Hawkinson as opposed to Jared Goff. I mean, he's got a decent situation. So
that's Randy's daily cheap shot at Jared Goff.
No, I mean,
I'm kidding with you. I understand.
Goff's a decent quarterback.
I understand what you mean. But this Hawkinson guy's saying, yeah, I'll sign a contract, the biggest one ever in the history of tight ends.
Right.
Unfortunately for him, The Athletic was saying they are very far apart, what he wants and what the Vikings want.
I'm sure. I just got a text here when we were talking about soccer. This is funny. I think this is I've Got Wood, Jesus. He says, soccer's the biggest sport in the world. Open your mind. Pull your head out of your butt. Pull your head out first. Then open your mind. Reminds me of a line from, sometimes I really like watching that program, 2.5 Men.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
The things that Charlie Sheen and Donald Rambucus, what the hell's his name again?
Then the show, Alan.
No. Right? The actor's name, John Cryer. The things that Charlie Sheen and John Cryer have going on are sometimes very, very funny. And the kid is a good actor, too. He's very funny.
Yeah,
he really is, the kid, whatever his name is.
Especially the older he gets.
Angus.
Yeah, the actor's name is Angus. Yeah, the older he gets, he got very good, very deadpan. Anyway. There's a scene from 2.5 Men when the kid is very little, and he's sitting on the couch watching television with Charlie Sheen. And the kid wants to watch soccer, and Charlie Sheen says, no way, soccer sucks. And the kid says, well, My buddy Donnie says that soccer is the most popular sport in the world, and Charlie Sheen says, well, then they don't need us to watch it.
That's a good line. Yes.
Trey Lance, Randy Shaver, a quarterback who's been playing for the 49ers, but he's always hurt, and then this guy came in and took his job, and then the other guy comes in and takes his job. They're saying
you're not having a good day when Sam Darnold takes your job.
Oh! Or Jared Goff, that pile of garbage.
Oh, yeah. Terrible.
The word is, yes, Sam Darnold beat out Trey Lance as the 49ers' backup quarterback, so then
Correct.
Lance will likely not want to be there anymore, and then the next conversation is, will he come and be a backup here?
Here's the problem. The 49ers are paying him way too much money to be the number 3 quarterback in their system.
Sure.
That's the problem.
Sure.
And he missed all of last year because of his injury. He has not proven he can stay healthy. But he's what, 22, 23,
24,
something like that. So
I don't know.
I mean,
I guess we don't
He
know.
was drafted in the top 3 picks in the draft, and there's a lot of people think he's got a future in the league. I guess the question you're wondering is, will the Vikings make a trade?
Well, yeah, the article I read is, will Lance come here and be a backup and then eventually take the
Right.
place of Captain Deathrocks?
Right. I mean, from a PR standpoint, it makes sense because of his name. He's born in Marshall, Minnesota. People know who he is.
Oh,
he was a
I didn't know
star-
that. I had forgotten all about that. Yeah,
He was a star at NDSU. He's a local
something
guy.
else I forgot about.
I guess I don't know much about this guy. now that I think about
we've
it.
never heard of this guy.
He's a local guy. So from a PR standpoint, it does make a lot of sense. From the fact that he's a young guy with a lot of talent also makes a lot of sense if Kevin O'Connell feels like he can mold Trey Lance into a starting quarterback in the NFL. All of those things have not been proven yet, though. And that's the risk that the Vikings would take. They would take over a contract that's got a lot of money on it for the opportunity, I guess, to see if the kid can play at this level.
All right. Here's a listener who would not be excited about the idea of Trey Lance coming to play for the Vikings. Roastmaster Jesus says Trey Lance should take his tiny ass back to college. He should have stayed at North Dakota State. What's got you so mad?
Yeah, what's his problem?
It's not like he's Jared Goff or something. What's the matter with Roastmaster Jesus? What happened? Did this Lance guy go on a date with your ex-wife or something? What happened?
What does he mean? Isn't he like 6'4"?
Yeah, he's 6'4".
Well, maybe he's being sarcastic. I don't know. Terry Funk just died. I can't focus. I don't know.
Speaking of Terry Funk, I did see one text message that came across. He says, Terry Funk made it in the NWA Hall of Fame before Ice Cube did?
Is Ice Cube? He's not eligible yet.
Oh, for God's sake. I didn't. It took me a second on that one. Oh, how about some college football, Randy Shaver? The Golden Gophers. Now,
a week from today.
That's right. A week from today, they play Nebraska.
Yeah.
I saw some Big Ten experts making their picks on this and on that.
Okay.
One of the topics was the most overrated and underrated teams. Now, the Golden Gophers were called both by 2 separate writers.
I agree with that.
Now, here's why one writer calls them overrated. The writer says, the line for Minnesota's regular season win total is set at 7, which seems reasonable when you consider the Gophers won 8 regular season games in 2022. But Minnesota didn't have to play Ohio State and Michigan last season. It plays both this season.
That is correct.
While also swapping out a home game versus Colorado for a game at North Carolina to highlight the non-conference schedule. With significant replacements to make on both lines of scrimmage, plus the departure of star running back Mo Ibrahim, merely reaching bowl eligibility would be a good outcome for the Golden Gophers. That's what makes them overrated. Now, another writer noted how they are underrated, and he or she says this. Here is how PJ Fleck's Minnesota teams have finished in the Big Ten West over the last 4 years. First, fourth, second, and second. Tanner Morgan was at quarterback each of those seasons, but now he's gone. Ethan Kaliak-Manis got plenty of experience last year, while Morgan nursed an injury. Kaliakmanis has a 3-2 record under those less than ideal circumstances. Minnesota's skill talent, same thing. Minnesota's talent is vastly underrated with a deep wide receiver core, solid running back stable, and one of the nation's best tight ends in Brevin Spann-Ford. So, Kaliakmanis has the supporting cast to succeed. Don't be surprised if the Golden Gophers go into Chapel Hill and pull off an early season stunner against North Carolina and ride that momentum while challenging the presumed Big Ten West favorites.
If you look at the futures odds on Caesars Sportsbook and Sportsbook in Colorado, which are up on ESPN.com, it kind of shows this a little bit. They're plus 30,000 to win the national title on one. They're plus 100,000 on the other, which means that the betting public or the people that set these lines can't figure out if they're that good at plus 30,000, which puts them in the top 25, top 30 teams in the country, or plus 100,000, which would put them, way farther back. With teams like Fresno State to win the national title. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's out there. There are people that can't quite figure out where do the Gophers fall in that,
Yep. Like you said, they're a week away.
race.
They're a week away. I get excited for Golden Gopher football. I love to watch their games. You guys know how Vikings, don't really care. Golden Gopher football, I do get passionate about, so I am excited to see what they can get going. By the way, we got a couple people texting in. Who was it? Roastmaster Jesus didn't like the idea of Trey Lance coming here to play football for the Vikings. And he said he had a tiny ass or something like that. Other people are chiming in. Okay, remember how the Ryan Clark from ESPN said that Tua Tagliavola, the quarterback for the Dolphins, was built like a stripper from Atlanta? This listener, I think Bubble Won't Burst Jesus, says Trey Lance has a body like a stripper at a small strip club in North Dakota.
Keep my name out your mouth!
Like a gal from a small little club in North Dakota. I don't know where they're going with all this. For you hockey enthusiasts, Austin Matthews signed a 4-year, $53 million contract extension with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that makes him the highest paid NHL player annually.
Yeah.
Puts up a lot of points.
Should be.
He puts up a lot of damn points.
He's terrific. Couple of
how
baseball
long is he?
notes?
Well, before we get back to baseball,
Sure.
I just wanted to throw this at you. How long's he been around? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah. And he's been fabulous every year.
He's already tied for 5th all-time in goals scored for the Maple Leafs.
Well, he's got to be around longer than 5 years then.
I don't know. I the name is very familiar, but I don't pay attention. He's already tied for 5th all-time in goals, 11th all-time in points. And that's a franchise who's been around for a long time and has had some great players. I mean, guys like Darryl Sittler and Boreas Salming and, well, there's got to be, someone look this up. There's no way that Matt Sundin is in the all-time leader Toronto Maple Leafs for goals or points. Can someone look that up for me? Matt Sundin has got to be the leader in both categories. That guy was an absolute animal.
You're talking about just for Toronto.
Yes. Toronto all-time points.
He's played 6 seasons? 6 seasons. So, I'm sorry, he's played 7 seasons.
Jesus, really?
He started in 2016 and played all 82 games in 2016.
You were right about points and goals for the Sundin.
Matt Sundin. And then there's got to be guys like Rick Vive in there. Rick Vive.
God, he's been around that long.
Wendell Clark.
Feel like that.
He also has 124 power play goals. You want to know why? He shot the puck.
Because he shot the puck.
Well, I hope the crowd told him to.
He listened to the crowd.
I thought you were going to say because New Day rocks there for a second, but
that is the entire secret to the power play.
Mm-hmm.
Listen
He unlocked
to the
it.
crowd.
yeah. Well, you better score a lot of. If you're a skill player in the NHL Gold, I'll start over. If you are a skill player in the NHL today, you better play. You better score a lot of power play goals because they hand out power plays like Halloween candy in the NHL today. Right. It's ridiculous. Oh, did your stick break? 2 minutes. Oh, did you... I hate all the power plays in the friggin' NHL these days. It's ridiculous, the calls that they make. But there you go, Randy Shaver.
Couple of things.
Yes,
Shohei
you wanted some baseball notes.
Just two things.
Yes.
Shohei Ohtani, they shut him down for pitching. He's got a tear in his UCL in his right elbow, so he's done. He pitched like an inning yesterday.
Done for the season?
Sorry, done pitching.
Done pitching for the season.
Done pitching for the season.
Oh.
And so even if they were in a playoff chase, they would not have his services, even when they get Mike Trout back, which I think they get him back today.
No, he went back on the IL. He says hand didn't feel right yesterday.
Oh, Trout did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for God's sake.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're out of the playoff chase. So, I mean, really, honestly, it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, see, I heard that Ohtani, walked off the field last night.
He did.
I didn't know that it was anything serious. So he's no longer going to pitch.
That's correct.
He's going to swing
tore
the
a
bat.
UCL in his right elbow, so he's done for
F me running.
And I know this will make you smile. It was on this date in 1981 that Kent Hrbek played for the Twins in his very first game and hit a home run against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
To help the Twins.
It's a hell of a first game.
Called up from Class A to play in his first game ever as a Twin. 21 years old, Kent Hrbek was on this date in 1981.
Am I making this up, or did he hit that home run off of Ron Davis?
I think he did, and it was in the 12th inning.
I think it was Ron Davis. And then, Twins
I'm
fans.
watching it right now, so let me just...
Was that friggin' RD?
It was, it might have been. It was number 43. I guess I can't tell.
Maybe it wasn't RD. I thought he wore 39 for both the Yankees and the Twins. I always... But that's great. 81.
1981.
And that was the beginning of, what became that core team with the Pucketts and the Gaettis and the Bernanskis and the Hrbeks and the this and that.
Yeah. I wonder if it wasn't George Frazier.
Ooh, I think that is it.
I'm pulling up the box score right now.
I think it was George Frazier.
It was friggin' George
Frazier.
Yeah,
yep.
I'm looking at it again. I'm pretty sure it's George Frazier.
I knew it was somebody who played for both franchises.
Yep.
There you go.
That's correct. Yep.
All right, Randy, we got to go. Tomorrow is Friday. We'll have a dad fight for you and Brad Ryder. Have fun at the fair.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to have a blast today.
That's
the attitude.
Yeah, I like that.
Dude,
I'm just going to have a blast.
The whole time, just be thinking this. At least I ain't Jared Goff. Miserable bastard.
Make sure, if you would, give us an Ass Man count the next few days. How many Ass Men you
know
get?
what? It's going to be 0, Josh.
You think it'll be 0?
Yeah.
It won't be 0.
People are frightened to say that to me.
Yeah, I suppose a hot day, maybe if you haven't had your milkshake. Everyone knows you don't want to be there.
He's a little fussy being so far away from the
I wouldn't want to be on Randy's bad side.
I ain't afraid of Randy at all.
Actually, you know what? I wouldn't want to be on Roseanne's bad side, Randy's
exactly.
wife.
I've been there a few times.
She also doesn't scare me a bit.
Yeah,
2
you
rules.
say that now.
Bring her in here. Bring her in here. You don't want to mess with me on Terry Funk's funeral. How do we say this? After the passing of Terry Funk, I'm feeling very hardcore. 2 rules. Remember how I made a rule earlier, Josh? If you come to the 93X booth to see the Half-Assed Morning Show, you must buy something or leave.
Yeah, you did say that.
That's one rule. Second rule, you walk by KARE 11, you must scream Ass Man.
Preferably while he's on the air.
You gotta scream. Or bring a sign. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Randy.
See you.
Coming up next, we'll have our porn star friend in studio, Jordan Max.
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Oh, that's twice today I've done that.
It's okay.
Coming up next, conversation amongst the 5 of us.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, Minnesota. CJ Ham here. Huddle up for a second. You need someone to go the extra yard when your furnace or AC is out? Give the ball to the certified pros at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been at it for 90 years. Ready? Break.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Deals on deals on deals. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals. Standard Heating, providing the comfort you deserve since 1930.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Are you currently enjoying the show on the Stitcher app? Then you need to know Stitcher is going away on August 29th. Yep, going away, as in kaput, gone, dead. Rest in peace, Stitcher, and thanks for 15 years of service to the podcast community. So switch to another podcast app and follow this show there. Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Half-assed Morning Show 93X.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the damn, how do you call this program again? The 93X Half-assed Morning Show. Josh, I have a sneeze on deck, and by God.
Oh, do you?
Oh, boy.
They're keepers.
I have a sneeze that just wants to... How's the fair, everybody? A couple of people texted in and said that they were in their motor vehicles on the way to the fairgrounds. Text us. How's it going out there, if you still can hear us? Maybe you're hanging out at the booth. Don't they crank up what we're saying over there at our booth?
They do.
I think so.
Too loud, by the way. They keep the music too loud.
Yeah, I don't like loud music anymore. So thanks for texting. Hope you have a great time at the fair. We've told a couple stories here in the Stupid News all the last couple of days related to folks getting canned at work.
You're
fired! Man, I love that soundbite. Folks getting canned at work for ridiculous reasons. And then funny thing is, that exact topic cut loose on a website called BuzzFeed. Can I see topless girls on that one? Or
no, I have never seen that.
All right, fair enough. Just curious. BuzzFeed. People are sharing the interesting reasons they got fired. They say getting fired is nothing to be ashamed of. It happens to a lot of us. Anyone here ever been fired?
Yeah,
once.
I have been fired once.
No, I haven't.
Wapple, why'd you get fired? Go.
I never did.
Oh, Ashley, why'd you get fired?
I lost money.
Oh. You lost money. I don't understand.
Yeah, I used to work at a bank, and it was the first Friday of the month, or the first of the month and a Friday, which is like very, very busy in the bank world.
Sure.
And I guess I must have deposited somebody's check. Actually, we found out exactly who it was, but she never called back saying that she got, extra money.
Well, why would you?
I have no idea what's happening right now.
You'll get there. And so yeah, it was like $1,684.70 cents. I must have gave her cash and also deposited her check. So.
Whoopsies.
Yeah, thanks, lady. Thanks for calling back.
I would have sworn to God it would have been for not showing up.
I heard banks take their money very seriously. Is that true?
Yeah, they did. It's because it was over.
They like to know where the money is?
Yeah, it was over a certain amount. That's why. Like, they went through all of the legal things they had to, watch the videos. They knew I didn't take it, but legally, because it was over $1,200 or whatever, they had to let me go.
Josh, of course, you've never been fired. You're the nicest guy in town.
I've been lucky enough.
And you're a great worker and a level-headed, enjoyable co-worker.
Well, very kind of you. I try to be.
You guys tell me, was I fired? This is how it played out for me. There was only one time where there's a question as to whether I was fired or not. This was my last warehouse gig before I made the terrible decision to get involved in this miserable line of work. For years, 2-3 different spots, I drove forklift and worked warehouse jobs, and I loved it. I did not love the last one I had before I got into this line of work. The bosses were dildos, and I love my coworkers, but the bosses were dicks. And so I told them, look, I'm going to quit. I gave them the 2-week notice. The night before my last scheduled day of work, I went out and I got absolutely annihilated drunk. Annihilated. And I never woke up for work. I mean, I slept in. I think the boss finally got me to answer the phone around 11 o'clock in the morning, and I was scheduled to be there at 7:30. And the guy said, were you planning on coming in at all on your last day? And I said, what? What time is it? And he said, don't bother, and he hung up. So was I fired?
No.
I wasn't fired.
No, I don't.
Not at all. Like, let's say you weren't planning on leaving, I bet he would have just said, get your ass into work. That's about it.
Oh, did I sleep in? I was so hammered. But here you go. Here we go.
Well,
oh, yes.
I was going to mention, if you quit in radio, don't they say, if you're on air, they just say, well, you're done, because they don't want you going on the air saying something terrible.
Right.
I don't know if that's true or not. Has anybody said, hey, I'm going to be done in 2 weeks or whatever?
No, usually you finish your shift and then they say, thank you, you're gone.
Yeah.
Because, they don't want you going on air and saying anything nasty. It's like that's like going out with a loaded gun.
Right.
Telling an on-air personality. I mean, we're some sensitive, childlike bitches in the radio world. You tell them, hey, in a few days you're going to be fired, and then give them a live mic.
Oh no, I meant if you go to your boss and say, listen, I'm moving on, right? I'm going to be leaving.
Okay.
Did they? I always heard that on that day they say, See, luckily people here have just been fired. There's not many people that have quit. So I don't have any firsthand experience.
I understand now. I would say it depends on the person. It depends on the person. Josh, if you said I'm leaving in 2 weeks, they would give you a live mic. Maybe me, it would be a different situation.
Well, they would. The last guy on the show gave us a 2-week notice, and
he wasn't a real member of the show. He wasn't a real member of the show.
How did I forget that?
Yeah.
None of that was real.
That's true, but then maybe they've learned since that because he admitted that he had masturbated at work here in the building.
Yes. Yeah, that did get weird.
And he also mentioned he was the guy that put the giant hole in the bathroom wall because he punched it out of frustration. Did he admit that he ripped the stall door off out of anger?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so he did all that stuff.
I forgot about the stall door.
Don't say his name.
It's like Beetlejuice.
So here's the deal.
Are you worried if you say it 3 times in a row, it'll come back? You'll be back here.
I don't even want 1 time in a row. People sharing the interesting reasons they got fired. And some of these bosses, I mean, what the hell's the problem? How did you become a boss? How did you become the kind of person who makes decisions on who goes and who stays, if this is how you operate? Our store was going out of business, and the boss told me I was being too negative about it. We're going out of business. This sucks. Hey, that's awful negative. What are we supposed to do? Hold hands and skip through the...
I'm not going to have a job once this store closes. Yeah, well, you don't have a job now either. You're fired for being negative.
Yeah, I mean, I got to pay the bills here.
Now, from what I was told, so a friend of mine, he was the manager at Circuit City and before it went under. And they were under some sort of like bankruptcy or something like that. They're selling all this stuff. And a couple of his employees decided to steal things on the way out. And he was telling me it was like a federal deal because they were in the bankruptcy proceedings. So not like just a fireable offense, but, and obviously if you steal, it's a criminal offense. But I guess this was a huge deal because it was more federal than it.
Took a stapler on the way out.
Yeah, it would have been better off doing it 3 weeks earlier, when they weren't in the middle of the bankruptcy.
Here's a guy who got fired for aggressively squeezing breakfast muffins, and that's not sexual slang or anything, for aggressively squeezing breakfast muffins. And here's how it all played out. He says, I was working at this restaurant, and someone complained that I gave them a muffin that was too hard.
Oh, I see where this is going.
So my manager told me to squeeze them before I hand them out, and being a dumb teenager, I squeezed the piss out of these muffins, and I got another complaint, so they stopped scheduling me.
Just picturing him squeezing so hard, it's like oozing between his fingers, like muffins just shooting through.
There's just fingerprints and stuff on the bottom of the muffin.
Thumbed the hell out of a muffin.
Just indented.
Got a text here that said I got fired from 2 jobs in 1 day. 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. Happens to the best of us, they said.
Not a lot of people can say that one. That's impressive.
That'd be the full-time and then the part-time. Oh, boy.
Interesting ways some of yous have been fired. I stopped working and just attended meetings only. It lasted 9 months before they let me go. Well, there's a situation where I would imagine the boss just isn't paying full attention.
Yeah. I agree.
It's kind of nice.
Here's a texter that said I got fired from Best Buy because I called in sick on Super Bowl Sunday to attend my grandmother's funeral. Yeah, I bet they think you're making stuff up.
Mm-hmm. Your grandparents can only die so many times.
That's true.
You've had 10 grandparents since you've worked here.
Well, maybe step-grandparents if you have your parents have...
Yeah, my mom got married 9 times, or my grandma got married 9 different times.
Yeah.
I caught the boss stealing is another entry into ridiculous reasons why you got fired. I caught the boss stealing, so he fired me. It was his word against mine, and it didn't go my way. Yeah.
DoorDash Diva Jesus said worked for the railroad. You say 2 weeks, they walk you off the property immediately, and you're done for security reasons.
Oh, that makes sense.
I've seen that happen where people get marched out.
Listen to this one, Wapple. If your dad's listening right now, he's going to go, oh, dude, yeah, I hear you. I had tickets to see Yes in concert back in the 70s.
Yeah, my dad would be all over that.
He's got Yes records, doesn't he? It's the Roundabout.
I don't know if my dad did, but I know one of my friends loved Roundabout, and he would always play that song. He was one of those artsy-fartsy types, so he loved Rush.
Oh, yeah, Yes and Rush are very artsy-fartsy.
Dream Theater.
Pottery Rock, we used to call it back in high school.
Totally.
Pottery Rock.
He's the one that is now a rocket scientist down at Cape Canaveral.
They call it the Roundabout. I had tickets to see Yes in concert back in the 70s. I had my request for time off approved. And then they changed their mind at the last minute. I went to see Yes anyway. And I was genuinely surprised when I got back to work on Monday and they told me that I was fired. Must have been young. Oh, what do you say about this one? My boss was talking trash about me to employees. I confronted her by saying, how would you expect the people below me to respect me when you show them that you don't? She didn't like that and literally went crying to the owners, who then fired me for, quote, causing problems. The owner of our restaurant was smoking too much heroin.
Oh.
And thought that we were all stealing. We showed up to work one day to find out that he had changed the locks and put a now hiring sign up on the door. Smoking a little too much H there, dog.
I know we've had texts in the past where people found out they were going to be let go when they saw their job being advertised on a job hunting website.
That's got to sting a little bit.
When I got fired from Go, they telegraphed it pretty good. Because they kept hinting at things like how big changes were coming. So we kind of knew, and we had openly talked about it in the air, but we knew because the next day the boss said, hey, I need to meet with you guys after the show and make sure you bring your company laptop. We're like, oh, okay. No. You've never once told me to make sure I bring my company laptop to work.
What about all the other times you got fired?
Actually, I just remembered I did steal something from a radio station when I left it. I left KFAN to go to 1500 ESPN, and I had one of those recorders, with the microphone that you go out and you're like, oh, hey, Joe Mauer, tell me about the game, that kind of thing.
The DAT player.
DAT player, there you go.
Well, those are worth a lot of monies.
And I completely forgot. It was in my trunk. I didn't look in my trunk, and like 3 months later, I found it, and I was like, well, I just kept it.
So you didn't necessarily steal it?
No, I didn't do it intentionally. It was just still in my trunk, and they didn't ask me about it or wonder where it was. So then I was like, oh, all right, well.
What did you say a couple minutes ago, Josh, about a guy who got fired for going to his grandma's funeral?
Yeah.
Here's somebody who took 2 days off to put down and grieve our family dog, who was 16 years old. I came back on Monday and they said that they, quote, no longer trusted me.
My goodness.
It's pretty cold.
Can't trust you anymore. I got fired for putting too many toppings on people's sandwiches.
Oh, no way.
Costing the company too much money, man. Yeah. You don't need to put that much lettuce on there. Up with the lettuce.
Yeah, I hated that at McDonald's. What was it? Once a month, we'd have the GM come and she'd watch us make everything. She would sit there and count out the onions and count out.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it was brutal.
So I worked at a. Go ahead, sorry.
I loved when the bosses weren't in. I used to work at a sandwich shop because I would just load people up, and I always felt so good about it. I'm like, I bet they're gonna get home, take a bite of that sandwich, and be like, damn, that girl hooked me up.
Well, and that at the sandwich shop, you're making it in front of them. Wouldn't you feel like a loser? You just do a little bit of lettuce.
Dude, yes, Waffle, because they're looking at you like, what is that?
What did I do wrong to you?
I don't know what the deal is with lettuce, because if I ever go to a fancy schmancy sandwich shop, no, don't get me wrong, I'm cool with 2 slices of Oscar Mayer bologna and wheat bread, and that's it. I'm cool with that. But if I go to a fancy schmancy sandwich shop, I want to get some of those toppings. No condiments, of course. I'm not a child. But I wonder, what is the deal with lettuce?
They put a lot on.
No, they don't.
They don't?
That's my problem.
Oh.
That's my problem is I wonder, what is lettuce costing you people that when I request it, you sprinkle 3 shreds of lettuce on my, what's the deal?
Oh, one of the places I go, they kill it with lettuce.
Not the job.
Yeah, I tell them to dummy down the lettuce. Like, hey, just go easy on the lettuce, though, because otherwise you're just biting into straight lettuce, it tastes like.
I mean, I don't go out to those joints as often as the rest of you, but I always have. Okay, let me roll through a few more of these real quick, and then we got to take a break on bizarre reasons why people were fired, because some of these are cute. this is really interesting. My manager confronted a shoplifter, and he started to beat her ass.
Oof.
Just
little pent-up anger, maybe.
I and other coworkers intervened. We pinned our manager to the ground until cops got there. The next day, store reps came in and told me I shouldn't have intervened, and they let me go.
I don't understand that line of thinking at all. You hear stories like that sometimes.
Was the one fighting the person fired, I wonder?
What?
Like
the manager who jumped on the they don't mention that in there.
What if they kept their job, but the person trying to intervene was fired?
Well, that might have been the case, or maybe they would have brought it up. It was just
so mad.
I worked at a department store. I walked in for my shift, and the store manager asked why the department store was such a mess. I said, how the F should I know? I just walked in. That led to an exchange of words on the sales floor. I probably shouldn't have said, go choke on a glittery dildo.
I can't figure out why that person was fired.
Here's a little backstory, they say. The store manager was a lesbian, and so am I. She automatically thought that meant we are to be buddies. To this day, I flip her off when I see her driving. F you, Lisa. And finally, I was fired after a month into my first job at a local pizza joint when I was 16. They called me during the Super Bowl and said I had to come in. I told them I was out of state and without a car, so there's no way I could make it in. They said I should have known that this is one of the busiest days of the year and I should have stayed in the area.
What?
I came in to work my next shift and they just gave me my paycheck and said they had to let me go for not being a team player.
Oh, that's absolutely hilarious.
I'm in Missouri watching the Super Bowl. How could I be a team player?
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh, God, I'm telling you. You're a terrific crowd. We were talking about getting fired for ridiculous reasons. Some of you have been fired before, and you don't even understand why. What the hell? Why am I? Here's a listener who texted in. When he was 17, he got fired from a sandwich shop. He says, because I was a shift leader and I would lock the door after dinner rush so we could smoke drugs in the cooler. What the hell, bro? What did I do?
I don't understand these strict rules at some place.
I wonder if I worked with them when I worked at a sandwich shop.
Technically, there wasn't a rule that said I couldn't do that, so how was I to know?
Here's a guy who got busted drawing boobies on a poster at work.
Oh, man, you're just feeling embarrassed.
And then a listener named Craig texted in to say he got fired on his day off for stealing boxes.
I almost got fired. I got written up for something. I thought it was stupid, but when you think about it, I guess it makes sense. I was a server at this place for like 4 years too, so it would have been a really dumb way to go out. I was rolling silverware, and I was bored, so I decided to write like winner, winner, you win absolutely nothing on like the inside of a napkin and just roll it up into silverware.
Sure.
I got called in like a couple days later, and she's like, so what's up with this? And I like barely even remembered it, and I was like, oh yeah, sorry, oh yeah, I did that.
You almost got fired for creating a little bit of whimsy?
Dude, the funniest thing about it is that she said, I was like, how did you figure out it was me? I gotta know. And she said she went through everybody's files to match the handwriting.
Oh my God.
I was like, dude, you could have just asked. I would have been honest. I thought it was funny.
Sounded like you wrote something mean on there.
Right?
Now, Ashley's likely to be picked on during this next conversation. We'll have to make it quick. Did you know that today is the sickest day of the year when we're most likely to skip out on work? I would have assumed it would have been somewheres in the wintertime.
Yeah, or around the Super Bowl or something like that.
The Monday after the Super Bowl.
A company that tracks sick days looked at 5 years' worth of data, and more people call in sick on August 24th than on any other day.
Maybe it's because the summer's starting to end.
That's what I was thinking. Kids are going back to school, so it's like the final kind of weekend before they go back.
Some of what you're saying is in the mix here, Wapple and Ashley. No one's really sure why today is number one, but in general, they found that more people call in sick in late summer because kids are back at school.
That is a significant reason.
And the weather is still nice. So what is it?
I worry about that myself.
What about the kids going back to school? Why would you miss a day of work?
Well, kids are gross, right? So your kid's back at school with all these other gross kids.
Oh, sure.
Your gross kid comes home and he caught something.
Yes. Okay. I thought it meant like ushering them onto the bus or something.
It's a different ball game. That's
Are
for
you
sure.
ready to be sick for the next couple months, Josh?
I know. I already brought that up to the boss. Like, we got to figure something out.
I saw a funny back-to-school photo yesterday. This mom, she was in a pool on a pool floaty with a beer, and then she had her 5 kids with their backpacks on the edge of the pool, all sad that they had to go back to school.
Cute.
Speaking of sick days and all this, what does this say? Well, back to getting fired. Sometimes for legit reasons, sometimes for ridiculous reason. One guy texted in and said he's surprised that everybody in the mailroom doesn't get fired where he works because on Saturdays they get to drink.
Oh, sure.
And there's a guy back there named Blade. Blade's in the mailroom. August isn't the sickest month. February is the sickest month when more people tend to actually be sick. So the second sickest day, today's number 1, is February 13th, which is close to, Valentine's Day and the Super Bowl. That might have something to do with it. The rest of the top 5, October 25th, the week before Halloween's. December 15th in the lead up to Christmas. And April 18th for some reason. You're out buying your weed maybe for 420.
100%.
September 5th also made the top 10. That's the day after Labor Day this year. The most common sick day excuses last year: stomach problems, COVID, problems with your elbow, anxiety, and mental health days. 26% of us didn't take any sick days at all last year. We got a lot coming to us, Cubby and I.
Yeah, we've earned them over the years.
I think we've earned them.
COVID is the only real time we've ever had to take off. And, some of it company mandated, some of it because it nearly killed a couple of us.
Exactly. And then when you had problems with your elbow.
Oh, my elbow, yeah.
What is this? Calling in sick is an outdated term. 54% of us usually text now. Oh, I see. Calling in sick is an outdated term. 54% of us just text now. Well, that doesn't surprise me. Friggin' text messages. Jesus criminy.
Could you imagine on Friday if I called one of you guys at 2 a.m.?
Well,
because that's when I texted you. It was at like 2:30 a.m. on Friday when I was sick.
When you're yakking?
Yeah.
Oh,
Could you
I
imagine
see.
if I called you?
Well,
hey guys.
Nick's used to random women calling him at that time of night.
To be honest with you, though, Ashley, if there's something really wrong, I'd rather you call. I don't care what the hell time it is.
Yeah, that's true. You'd probably answer.
Okay, so some of us text. Some of us send a Slack message. I don't even know what that means.
That Slack app that everyone uses.
The messaging app.
We tried it around here. Didn't last very long.
33% of us still call. Some send an email. 2% don't even bother telling the boss.
When you were sick Friday, did you tell the boss?
Tell Derek?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you got to
you gotta tell him that.
You're going to get fired.
He showed. I put it in on the. He showed me to do it on workday.
You have to
That's
tell
what
him.
he told me to do.
You have to tell him to his face in Spanish.
Try to do that right now. Try to do that with what limited Spanish you have.
New company policy. You didn't read the handbook. Josh reads the handbook.
It did say that.
Bonjour, je m'appelle.
Yes, close enough. Close enough.
Best of luck to Tucker the Trucker Jesus, going in for a job interview, hoping soon to be known as leaning on a shovel Jesus.
I think we know where he's applying.
Yeah,
then,
I got
don't
an
we?
idea what he means by that. Good luck.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah, please let us know how it goes. Best of luck to you.
I know fellows who have that particular line of work, and they say, don't forget to bring a pillow for the work truck.
My favorite job description here is from a program director in the building who calls his job the director of looking out the window.
Yeah.
That cracked me up when I first heard that. Happy 11th to Mark from Mom, vertically challenged Jesus, and Dad, former radio guy Jesus. Happy belated birthday to Salty Balls Jesus from your smoking hot wife, Jill Doe Jesus. And right now on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text the word OUTS. OUTS to 651-989-9393. We sure appreciate you listening, so we want to reward you with a shot at some tickets to Twins versus Rangers Sunday, August 27th at Target Field. You can see the Twins take on the Texas Rangers.
It's going to be a big one, Cubby.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Furnished by the Minnesota Twins.
The 93X X half-assed morning show. 93 X.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
It's savings on a stick season with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning State Fair specials. Savings from $30 on a tune-up all the way up to $950 on a new cooling system. Visit standardheating.com/offers for details on all their State Fair deals.